It's happening.
It is happening.
It's happening.
It's been too long. We've been talking about this for like 3 years.
3 years.
Maybe about 3.
I finally landed Dennis Condusta.
I wanted to do it in person. And in full disclosure, this is my first podcast ever.
Really?
Yeah, I haven't done anything with my life since podcasts have been invented. So no, I've never done one, but I'm excited. This is fun.
Well, I'm happy to have you.
I appreciate it.
We've been talking about it for years.
We have.
Dennis is a man of many hats. He is, in his full-time day job, production manager at Axelrad Screen Printing and Embroidery.
Full disclosure, one of your sponsors.
One of my sponsors. He was in a band, Astorian Stigmata.
It's a lifetime ago.
Feels
like it.
I'm going to call you a content creator because, I mean, you are.
I accept.
You do a weekly...
That almost has a negative connotation to it. But
yeah, I don't like saying it because it sounds...
TikTok-y.
No. Yeah, it sounds like we're...
It sounds like you'd be the person like at a national park taking selfies and getting in people like in front of the Grand Canyon, so you're interrupting people's view. Yeah, that sounds like a content creator to me.
Or we're making like beauty tutorials and stuff like that.
Yes.
Yes. We're not doing that. You're not doing that.
No.
But
that's probably why no one watches it.
Hey, dude, I'm in the same boat.
No.
No one cares.
Maybe we should do beauty tutorials. You think that will go over well?
I thought about trying to do this as like an ASMR because that's hot for whatever reason.
Yeah, I don't know. That's over my head.
It's mine too.
I used to do fucking like tutorials like making clothes and shit like way back like 12 years ago.
You should do that again because that would probably be a hit.
I know, maybe.
People love that shit.
I don't think anyone wants to see a 40-year-old man make clothes.
Dude, there's 50-year-old men making wood.
Wood?
Well, yeah, things out of wood.
Yeah, that's fucking man shit. You're making fucking showing people how to make a fucking table or something.
Yeah.
I mean, that has utility. Who's a 40-year-old showing how to make clothes? Other 40-year-olds aren't making their clothes. They got shit to do.
Dude, times are tough.
Kids.
People need to know how to make clothes. It's hard out there,
I guess you're right. I didn't think of that angle.
Thrifting's huge. People like to like buy stuff and piece it together.
Yeah, that's thrifting's a different genre. But did I interrupt your introduction because I can't shut the fuck up?
Maybe.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
There's no interruption here.
I apologize.
Content. Well, we ended with content creator, husband, father.
Yes.
I'll say DIY pro.
Ooh. Okay, if you're going to bestow that upon me, I will take the burden of that compliment.
You can fight me if you want. I mean,
there's nothing. I think you'd win. You're like Jim 4:30 in the morning guy now. You're going to win the fight.
Who's going to carry the boats, Dennis?
I guess us.
Who's going to carry the boats?
I'm warm in my bed, and you're out there carrying the boats.
Yeah, so but then you're riding your bike to work, and
I know, but that's more stupid than like every day. Like I think it was fucking like 2 days ago. I was just riding up Main Street, and like the fucking like a car was like 18 inches from me at like 40 miles an hour. I was like, what the fuck am I doing? I was like, they never even saw me, and it happens like every day. It's like not even a story, but I was just like, oh, this isn't like cool. Like this is just stupid. I'm gonna keep doing it, but I wear the proper safety gear now. I didn't always, but when I became a father, I was like, I can't get killed on the side of the road and at least not have a helmet on. It was just it's a bad look. So I was like, fuck, I wear the safety vest and that shit works. But yeah, I do ride my bike to work every day, but that's just more of like a mental illness thing than like athleticism. It is. It really. Like, I don't even think about why I do it. It's snowing. I go past 2 cars in my driveway, and I was like, I guess I'm riding my bike today. My wife's like, this fucking. She still offers me rides. Like, still, she's like, do you want it? She knows I'm never gonna take the ride, but she still offers me them. I guess that's nice. How you know the marriage is strong. If she stops offering rides, I'll be looking for the divorce papers in the mailbox. That'll be my cue.
Ride your bike to the mailbox and see them. Yep.
Okay, but anyway, I accept and appreciate those compliments.
And then, the last one. Speaking of bikes, we'll call you a BMX rider.
Yes, I still. So that was my first love, like way from the beginning. And it was the first thing I really immersed myself in as like a teenager in my early 20s. And I still actually do it, which is like really fucking weird. Like once or twice a week. But you know, it's something I could do with my son too. So I kind of brought it back for that aspect. But yeah, that I can't believe I do still do that. It's like,
Not only do you ride, I mean, like, aren't you like building ramps and shit too?
yeah, I still do that.
Yeah.
And it's like so it's like a summer thing because we just do it at the trails in the woods. And then like on like a Saturday in the summer, I'm like slapping a dirt jump together in the woods. I'm like, what the fuck am I doing? I'm like, I'm still doing this. But it's good. I don't know. It's good for your psyche, and it's good to, I don't know. I don't want to say stay young, but in essence, it is like it's like athletic, but it's like pointless. And I like the fact that it's stupid. Like, what am I if I break my leg in the woods, like riding a BMX bike it's fucking stupid. And I kind of like that. Like, I like that idea of it, that you're doing something that's like purposely reckless.
Yeah.
Like you go to the gym, and I respect that, and I do similar things, but like that has a point. You're like, you know, you're fucking. That's good for you. I'm like, it's not good for you to jump a fucking BMX bike in the woods. Like, if I get hurt, I was just like, what were you doing? It's like, I don't know. I don't know why I was doing that.
Yeah, I guess it's not cool at your age anymore, right?
It's not. And I kind of like that aspect of it. Like, this is so stupid. Like, this is so dumb.
Well, do you have like a younger generation being like, whoa, that old guy just...
So what's interesting, and not to get into it too far, because I don't know how interesting the topic of BMX is, but the younger generations changed in every aspect, and the way I still do BMX, so like dirt jumps in the woods, is like a thing of the past. Like, it's like dinosaurs are the only ones who still do it, because you have to go into the woods and fucking build the shit with a shovel, and like kids don't really lean towards those types of things anymore. So the kids coming up are in more like controlled, trained environments where they're at like skate parks and stuff, and they're not really out in the woods digging holes, which we did that, you know, in the 90s and 2000s. And that's still kind of just the way I do it. Cause I'm not like progressing myself as a BMX rider. I'm just sustaining what I can do, trying not to break my leg. So the way I did it is very antiquated. It's not, you know, it's not for young guys. So no, there's not really young guys out there like, look at this old guy shredding. Because they're just, and it's like anything. The young people are just, especially with having so much content on their phone and seeing like what other people can do. They progress so quickly and so fast, just being immersed with like, you know, what other BMX riders all around the world are doing and seeing it instantaneously. Like they progress so much more quickly that what I did that was considered professional 20 years ago is literally like entry level for a 14-year-old today. That's how much it changed. And I think that's true of almost everything.
Everything, dude.
Every sport. But and BMX is the one I know the most about. And it's just like, no one's looking at me being like, yeah, he's ripping. They're like, that dude needs to fucking hang it up. But it's still fun. I still enjoy it.
Hang it up.
It's not lost on me.
I always say, like, we're kind of like that generation that was like, I don't know how to explain this. And I should probably stop trying to, but like, so our parents, right? Like they're set in their ways. I mean,
boomers.
Yeah, I mean, like
booming.
Like nothing phases them. If they get on the internet, cool. If not, no big deal. Whatever. Like we're in this generation where we had half our lives growing up like in the woods doing shit, and then half our lives with the internet. Yeah. Kids now, it's just all internet. And like and like we're kind of like in this like holding pattern. I feel like almost like a test rodent. In between like our parents and like the generation after us, because I'll get into like my son doing baseball. The stuff that he's doing is just wild. The stuff that the kids his age, you know, 7, 8, 9, the way they're hitting the ball is just insane. But they have guidance. Like when I was growing up, and you can probably relate. You know, the coach would come, he would have his big black bag, he'd dump it, you'd share helmets, you'd grab a bat. If the bat was too heavy or too long, you choked up. Yeah. And the most of the guidance we got was like, you know, elbow up, elbow up. Now, these kids now, dude.
Yeah, I know. I'm a coach myself.
Yeah, I know. And launch and, you know, elbow like high through the swing. And like I'm seeing it. And as I'm seeing it, I'm like, wow, that would have been really useful growing up.
Yes. So there's so many levels to everything you just said that I actually don't even know where to start. But yes, I agree. Since we're you're like a slightly older than me,
A little bit, yeah.
we are the generation 100%, and I would argue the greatest generation, but that's yet to be seen, who truly transitioned from analog to digital. Like I clearly remember times in my life when you left the house and you were fucking gone.
Mm-hmm.
Like you were even into our early 20s, like when you went to meet your friends, like is anyone going to be there tonight? Like there was still an element of, I remember that clearly. And that obviously changed very quickly. And we were part of the change too. And still young enough to embrace it. But the funny thing is when you brought up, and I think about this concept often, when you talked about how our parents were and like how we're different, like I think about this because, well, first of all, think about who raised our parents. Like like our grandparents' generation, like those fucking people were hardly human. Like the shit they went through. Like the fucking, my grandfather was in 3 wars and the other one was in like 2. Like, what the fuck is that? Like I remember when he passed not too long ago, it was 2021. And the fucking guys came and shot the guns and shit. And he had to, on his little tombstone, it said, World War II, Korea and Vietnam. I was like, this motherfucker was in 3. Why he didn't talk about it, obviously, because he didn't talk much, and that's probably why. But those people, like with this whole other view, like they had their foot in like the fucking old world, like when shit was not legit, like imagine what their parents were like they were all orphans. Like no one even really know. Like every grandparent I know like didn't have parents. Like they fucking like fell out of the sky, and they were raised like in the old way where it was seriously like, I think the boomers, our parents, were really the first people who had like a comfortable life. Like the first one, they didn't know what the fuck to do with it. They still don't, in my opinion. And they raised us like in this transitional period where they're like, and I'm going to tell you how I have evidence of this because I thought about this a lot lately. Like, where they're the transitional period where they didn't really understand the world the way we do. Like, they didn't understand what, like, preservatives were in food. And, like, maybe you shouldn't eat Wendy's 3 days a week. Like, they had no fucking idea. None of that stuff was, like even out yet. And so, to backtrack a little bit, I'm going to fucking rant. So you got to stop me whenever you can. I'm going to make your job really easy tonight. I was in the fucking Wyoming Valley Mall with my son. Like, this was like a year ago. And I might have told the story in a video that I did. And because I was like, when I took him to the mall to teach him how to walk, because I thought it'd be funny when he was like 9 months old. I was like, I'm gonna take him to the fucking mall and like let him walk because it's empty. And I wanted him to implicitly remember what a mall was, because I felt like I'm like, oh, by the time he's like old enough to understand the world, like this shit won't be here. It's still kind of there, which is crazy, but I wanted him to know. And then I had this memory of me walking behind him while he was walking, and we were walking in front of the store. And I was like, oh, wait, I was in this mall when I was his age. I was in this exact mall, because it was built like fucking late 70s or whatever, the 80s. Like the world and the infrastructure of the world that we see now existed when we were kids. So I'm in the mall. I was in front of the store that's Journeys now, I think. And I had this memory of me being there with my dad. It was all different stores, but like the essence was the same. And my son was in front of me, and I was like, whoa, this is like a generation. Like I was with, whatever, the bullshit. And then I thought, my dad was not at the mall with his dad because there was no fucking mall.
Right.
Like the rate, and I know it sounds so simple, but the rate that the world changed from our grandparents' generation to our parents' generation, like infrastructurally, was substantial. Like the cars changed more, like the houses changed more, the buildings, like everything you see kind of changed faster because at that time we were focused on the external, the material world. In our lifetime, it's the same mall, but our phones and our pockets, our technology, our ways of communicating is where we put all our like human energy into. And that's really the only aspect that, in the past 20 years that's just fucking phenomenal. And I'm not denigrating, technological advances, but like the mall's the same fucking thing. So my son essentially is growing up in the same world that I did in a material, tangible sense. And I thought that was super strange. And that's why I think that we, as, elder millennials, you and I, have a better chance of raising our children, understanding them, because at least on some level, like he's at the mall right now, and I was at the mall when I was his age. I implicitly know what he's feeling. My dad didn't have that experience with his dad. Like he didn't implicitly know what it felt like to be at the mall with him too. And there was a bigger gap, I feel like. So boomers, as much shit as they catch and as much shit as I'll give them, I try and really empathize with the fact that like their parents came from a fucking different world and raised them completely clueless to post 1945, post World War II. It's like it was a new world.
Yeah.
Some would argue the best time to be an American. And in certain ways, that's very true. You could buy a house with like a normal job. We don't have to go down that road. But like, and then for them they didn't really understand. They didn't put anything in them other than like very basic fundamentals of like what it is to be a human. So it's in my opinion that the boomers were the first generation of real people and we're the second. And we do it a little better, but our kids are luckier. And it's in my opinion, I don't know. Gen Z got fucked. We don't have to talk about them. But it's in my opinion that the kids who are our age, our children's age, so like 6, 7, 8, they will probably have the best shot. And it's so rare to say something fucking hopeful. Like it sounds weird even coming out of my mouth because all I hear is doom and gloom about the future. But I'm like, I conceptually understand the world that he's going to come into. I mean, even with AI, like it's so crazy. It's hard to comprehend that I feel like they will have a better chance of being raised by people who are more aware of society and human psychology and, because that stuff doesn't change. I know I'm fucking going on here, but like the psychology, like it's all the shit and the smoke and the mirrors around us that changes. But people and what kids need, we understand that better than our parents did. And that was true throughout all of human history. But we have more as parents. Like I had more access when my wife was pregnant. I researched so much. I read so much shit that helped me so much. And I know it did because I could see it in them. I was like, my parents didn't have that shit. They had like fucking Baywatch and like Slim.
Well, yeah, but I think too, like with what you're saying though, I think our parents had us younger than when we had kids.
That's true.
So they're having kids, and it still happens to this day, but they were having kids early 20s. My mom was
for the
20.
most part.
So like they're still trying. Like, I look back at me as like 22, 23, 24, 25. I'm like, wow, like I can't imagine me having a kid.
No.
So they're still like growing up and like probably like, oh, I still want to like be young and like go to parties with my friends. So like we'll just bring our kid and we'll put them in the corner and like so when we had kids, again we're the same age. We have kids around roughly the same age.
Yeah,
like I think like we got that part of our lives out of the way.
Yes,
the going out and the socializing. Like we did that. It was over. We're older. We're more mature. Hopefully, financially in a better place.
Yes. It's true, and I don't want to extend this to another conversation, but I would say that option of like getting things out of the way is like men. We do get a more extended time than women do because they still have the biological factor that society and social pressures does not care about. We could kind of fuck around till we're like 45 if we want to hit the cheat code. Get a woman 10 years younger, whatever it is. So we as men have a little more of an option there. But for women, it's difficult. I think it's more difficult for them, and not to be like over empathizing guy, but I feel like the society has extended that time because like I had my son at 32, almost 33. Mm-hmm. And that's like late, like by most metrics, like that's kind of late, but just the way we extended like the infrastructure of society where you're in college till you're like 22. If you get a master's or a doctor or something, you're talking 24, 25. By the time you start to amass any resources that you need to have a family, you're going to be like 30 years old. And it's just kind of the pace and structure of everything. And I think, and again, this is not what you're talking about, but I think women got a raw deal because they're in the same society. We're integrated since
but they're
the 80s.
Forced. Yeah, they're forced.
And they're forced because the biological factor does not go away for them. So
no.
Yeah. So there is a little bit of a dichotomy there, and that's
interesting too.
That's the downside we pay for extending our youth, I guess, somewhat. You kind of have to. I did it all in I got married in 2017, had my son in 2018, and I would have bought my house in 19 or towards the end of 19, but the pandemic, and I bought my house in 20. So I did it all like boom, boom, boom. Like it had to happen fast because I was just like, I'm fucking old. Like this has to. But until I was 30, I was just fucking around. I was fucking around. Like 17 and 30 were like the same thing for me. And it really wasn't. And that's not true for everyone. I did a lot of extra fucking around. So I had to catch up super quick. But I kind of had that option. Like women don't really have that option to fuck around like that. Like they have to be like, hey, I got to figure it out. But I don't know. That's a different conversation. But I did want to point that out, that is one of the things that I think is different from like my mom had me at 29, but I was the second kid. So she had my brother at like 25. It's just a different world and a different pace at that time. Like college, everyone wasn't going to college. So that added years to it. And I think, man, I'm going to keep going. So you have to stop me. But the millennial idea of love that came from like Disney movies and, romantic Heath Ledger movies and shit, like really prolonged us to wait for the right person. And I think most people's parents that I know like made it work, or they should have never been married. And we're like, and I don't know if you have that same experience. That's not true. I don't know how my parents ever even like knew each other. They like, it's like a glitch in the system. Like, how'd you guys even fucking know each other? But like, being raised by like boomers, and they came from they were being raised by that generation that like fucking, they just came home from war, and they're like, everyone I know is dead. They're like, we'll get married. They were like 19, like, so, and they came from that, and their idea of love was like almost more religious, because religion declined too. So like it was almost like in shame, like their parents would be like, you're not married at 23. Like, we didn't get that. They knew it was wrong and that it shouldn't have happened to them. But I mean, maybe some people got it. But as a group, like as a generation, that wasn't a burden of ours. There was no pressure for those traditional values young.
Yeah. I mean, I was very cognizant of like, I want to make sure that I'm financially ready. And like my wife, thankfully, my wife was 4 years younger than me, but she also wanted to go to school for a million years. So it's like, I was able to extend my life too, like my fun time,
Yeah, so you hit the cheat code. You got a wife 4 years younger than you.
Yeah, but
the cheat code?
It was funny because like I wasn't ready to stop yet, and she just turned. I met her. She was 21. I was 25. So
okay.
So she was just getting started.
That's
and I'm like, fuck
that's
yeah.
a gap. Those ages is like that's interesting.
Yeah. So
Are you saying she straightened you out?
No, we were, because I wasn't ready to slow down, and she was just getting started. So it was like a nice, we were able to, kind of grow old together.
You're gonna tear me up. That's beautiful.
Yeah.
But so my story with that's a little different than like the common story, because I was old when I was young. I was like, can I just be 40 already? Like I felt that way my whole life.
Dude.
I've never felt better than I have since I was like at 34. I was like, what is this? I was like, life is fucking great. I was like, this is cool. And I still feel that way like every day. And I remember being 23 and I'm like, this fucking sucks. Like this shit fucking, and I could never grasp it or get my head around it. And, a lot of that was probably just the way I was designed. I think I was always kind of meant to be like stable and boring and old. But then also the as you age, and I recently just did a video about this. I don't know if you watched it, but as you age, like the weight of youth sheds off of you and you just feel better. Like there's not mysteries in life. Like, who am I going to marry? How many kids am I going to have? Where am I going to live? What's my job? Like as you age, you start to know those things. All those big questions get answered and they fall off your shoulders, and it just feels fucking good.
Yeah. But on the other side of that, dude, like when I was younger, I loved the unknown. Like,
really,
that to me was, I mean, like, I'm thinking about going when if you went out that night with your buddies or whatever it might, you just went and did something, like you never knew what was going to happen, and the unknown was like the exciting part. Like you could have met your wife at that time, or you could have like woke up in a ditch or whatever it might be. Like the unknown to me was like just fun.
Really, even like the big existential unknown, like we still don't know how we're gonna die. Like me and you sitting here, we don't know that. But like when you're younger, there's a lot more of those big questions of like, who am I, that you don't know. Like when you're like 19, like I know what you're saying, and I think you're speaking more acutely. Like when you're leaving the house and you're like, anything could happen. When you're young, that's fucking true. That's not true for us now. Yeah, anything can happen. Like a fucking meteor could fall.
Yeah, I could fucking get in a car accident.
Yeah, like that's the shit that happens when you're 40. But you're not gonna like. I don't know what you mean. Like you're not gonna meet like, oh, there she is. Like like it's not gonna happen. And it's I like it better. Fuck that shit. But I understand where you're coming from, but I like the boringness of being old, because I've always been so interested in like the internal world and like thinking about fucking bullshit, and I'm so my mind is so freed up to like just think about like, I don't know, fucking like exes like Friedrich Nietzsche. Like let's ponder Nietzsche today. Like I have so much. I always loved that more than like anything else, and I have so much more room and space for that And, you know, being a parent is the absolute, in my opinion, like the best thing ever. And it's like,
well, we talked about, you know, the hats that you wear, and I wanted to kind of touch on each one. And one of them was about being a husband and father. So now since we're kind of in that realm, let's just that was kind of like the last thing I was going to talk about. But since we're on it, let's just fucking dig in. Yeah.
Fuck it. Let's hit it. So, do you want me to just go for it? Because
I wanted you to talk about, like, you know, meeting your wife, and then, you know, how that all happened, because
yes,
I'm always interested in, like, how people meet, right?
So I tell the story, and so I met my wife in 2012, it's actually a very fascinating year, because this is right before smartphones really became what they became, and right before, like, dating apps were popular. So it was really kind of still like no one was on fucking dating apps in 2012. I don't know if they were out, but it might have been really new. I didn't really hear about them until 2014. So I met my wife. We actually went to high school together. I'll tell the story short. And she tells everyone she was obsessed with me at that time. It's her favorite story to tell. I think that I'm an extra in her story because she just willed our marriage. I make that joke all the time. But we had met. So I was in like a 4-year relationship that ended earlier in 2012. So I was single for like 6 months, and then I was scrolling through Facebook, like this is on a fucking desktop computer, and it was at that time where it was like you would see so and so commented on this picture or whatever. I wasn't friends with her, but on Facebook, and I had not talked to her up to that point, and someone like commented on her picture or whatever, and I was just scrolling down, and I love dark brunettes. Michelle Branch is my first crush. Like, when I was in high school, I was like, what is that? I felt like Hollywood and women in movies and stuff never really spoke to me. I have a very specific type, and you know, wide face, the whole fucking, it's very, very specific. But my wife, I was scrolling through the picture, I was like, who the fuck is that? I was like, who is this person? And then I was like, okay. And I went to her profile, and it said that she was in a relationship. So I was like, all right, I'll let it go. And then like 2 or 3 months later, and I didn't talk to her. I didn't say anything. 2 or 3 months later, I went back and said she wasn't in a relationship. And I was like, fuck, all right, it's going down. And then I was at Donahue's, the famed Donahue's in downtown Wilkes-Barre, maybe a month after that. And I was with DJ Laurie, and we went to the bar. I was just, just doing bar shit. I was 26, and I saw her there, and I was like, it's over. She's done. I was like, I'm going in, and it's happening tonight. And it did. I was just like, there she is. Like, it just the attraction level was evident from the beginning, and I was like, it's done. And then I went over, we talked, and then that was it. A couple years later, we were married. It's just like it was always felt like right in every way, and I guess it was mutual apparently long before I thought that way. But it's always felt. I don't know if I told that story too long, but so we met. I guess that's 13 years ago now. We've been married 8 years almost, but we met 13 years ago, and I was playing in a band at that time. So I was the same exact person that I am now, but I didn't have a job or money. So she took a fucking gamble on me, that's for sure. And I always tell her that I respect her for doing that. But we met, and it was kind of like this implicit attraction, and it's kind of stayed the whole time, like that fundamental attraction. And I was very lucky. I think we're both very lucky to find that. And it feels good in a marriage to be like, I'm not lucky, she's not lucky. It's like we're both just lucky. And it feels mutual, like a built-in mutual respect. Because I think in my observable truth, a lot of marriages and relationships, like someone's lucky to be there, and that creates this tense dynamic. And if people are lucky enough to get away with it. So that's the part. Relationships are hard, and they're constant work. I know that. So none of that part is luck. But if you're lucky enough to meet someone you have like an implicit connection with, like I did, then that part's luck. You still have to work on it like a motherfucker. Nothing comes easy. Nothing.
No, it's harder than ever. Sometimes.
Yeah, it's always hard.
So when you saw her, I mean, like you saw her, like, oh, this is what I am interested in, like. When you started talking to her, was that like even like did that, it all match up? Like, was it even better because like you knew her personality? Like,
yeah, yes. And I had never talked to her at that point, but it just worked. And like I was like, I know. I'm a little over. I guess I can come off as overconfident, but I just don't see the world in terms of like, oh, I'm better than anyone or anything.
Well, you look like Ashton Kutcher, so like you got that going for you.
It wasn't that though. It's like
I know,
I'm like,
I'm just saying.
like I can come off as like arrogant, and I understand it's not lost on me that that's true, and I could see how someone would be like, "Fuck that dude." I understand that entirely, and I'd be like, "You're probably right," but I don't see myself is better than anyone else, or like I don't even see the world in those terms. So it allows me to like live, I guess, in a way that presents itself as confident. So I was like, I am implicitly and genuinely and truthfully attracted to this woman. What can go wrong? She's gonna sense that. I'm not like the pickup artist, like trying to like trick her. I was like, she's gonna feel that because women are beautiful species. I think they're the much better half of the being, and they know these things. They know and I'm like, she's gonna feel it. She's not gonna deny it, and she didn't. And you know, we're still together. And it is true because women can sense those things better than we can. And I was like, well, if you're generally attracted to someone, they're gonna know, and they're gonna like it.
So what did you say?
I don't remember what I said. I don't know. It's just like, hey. I was like, we're doing this. I don't. Hey. That was my tone. I don't know what I said, like word for word, because I wasn't conscious of the words. But it was like, hey, yes, right?
You didn't even speak words. Just like
I don't even know if I did. I wish you would. I'd have to ask her. But that's what it was. Just like, hey, yes, good, ooga booga, like caveman. And she was like, yeah, this is good. Yeah. And I was like, good. And then like never looked back in any way.
Yeah.
Like at any point. I didn't, she did. I don't know, this is good.
Well, it's interesting because I mean, I've known of you for a long time.
I've known of you for a long time too. Peripherally.
Right. Same. You know, and we had the pleasure of working together for 3 years, 2021 to 2023 or 4 rather. But I always saw you from afar, and I think you were in The Weekender at some point for something or the other. And I've never told you this before. Uh-oh. Not even when we worked together. So I'll say it now because you can't punch me in the face. But I was like, that guy's odd.
Yeah, that was always.
And it's not. It's not. It wasn't even like. It wasn't like I'm like, oh man, I don't want to talk to that guy. You. And I love this about you. Like I love the I don't get like I am who I am. I'm and
it didn't work though.
What?
It didn't work though. Like okay, so I know what you're saying. Like, and this is the part where my self-awareness gets the best of me. Is that I always knew that I wasn't striving to be odd. I was raised by like an odd woman, and it's implicit in me. Like that's who I am. And I always knew I was like, okay. You know, I'm dressed like a fucking this is when I was in a band, like, you know, probably relevant at that time in the weekend. And I was like, I'm dressed like I'm in a fucking carnival because I think it's funny. I don't take this serious. I'm not like, I'm this guy. And you wouldn't know that though unless you knew me. Right. I'm like, I think this is funny. But then also I played music that like Modest Mouse was my favorite band. And I was like, what the fuck is that? I was like, you can't dress like a carnival and then play the guitar like fucking Death Cab for Cutie. And it didn't make sense. And I knew that it didn't because I don't really make sense. And I was like, okay, so I'm striving for this thing. At that time, I was very determined to make music something I did for a living. I'm glad it didn't happen. In retrospect, I'm like, thank fucking God. But at that time, I was very determined. But like, I couldn't fake anything. I couldn't be like, oh, I'm going to lock into this genre and do this thing because that's the sure path. So I was cursed with like being like, no, I'm going to do it, try it on my terms. And it just didn't make sense. It didn't make sense to people like, I don't know what to do with this. Like we would have people come see us like managers of other bands be like, okay, we might take this band on tour. And they'd be like, I don't know what I'm seeing. They're like, look at what is this shit? I have like a fucking, you know, what's that shit? What's that tattoo show with fucking Ink Master? I got my Ink Master shit back here. I don't even fucking, it's just, with an American flag. Like, it's just, I've always been dichotomous as a person. Yeah. And I didn't like hide it, and I should have, but I'm glad I didn't. But I know what you're saying and being like, he's odd.
It's awesome. Like,
odd.
I never knew how to like approach you, and I don't even remember when I was talking to Dave in the new building that you guys are in, and you had come up to the front. The building was still empty, and I don't know. You just like looked at me like, what the fuck's this guy doing? Like, I don't know what it was. But like shit. Like
it was certainly not anything personal. I was just like, it was probably at that time, we were hiring new people. I was like, what are we doing here? Am I getting replaced? It was probably something like that. It definitely wasn't anything personal. But no, and I understand like what you're saying, because in retrospect now, I'll still write a song here and there, but looking back at that time in my life, I'm like, oh, that didn't make sense.
But I wouldn't say it though. I mean, as a musician, I think you need to have something that makes you stand out.
Yeah, maybe not stand out and to the side. maybe just stand out. Maybe not stand out odd. Like there's odd like Robert Smith odd, and then there's odd like. I
don't know if the odd's the right word I wanted to use, but I don't know.
No, I think it was the right word. Honestly,
yeah, I think
it was a good one.
I don't know how he got there, because we're talking about your wife and that.
Well, you were talking about what, and I had like. The way I dressed at that time, I still kind of do, but the way I dressed it, like I did that all the time. Like I wasn't like, oh, this is
you never broke. It was
I didn't.
Whenever I saw you, you were always like, I don't want to say in character, like you were, but like you were. That was that's who Dennis was.
Yeah, and I wasn't really in character because like, I don't know, this is going to sound really weird. We don't have time to go into this, but I don't have like a sense of self, like a real one. Like I don't feel like there's anything about me that isn't fluid. So I'm comfortable being a character as much as I am being anything else. I'm like, it's just, all the world's a stage. Like I do actually believe that and live by it. So it wasn't disingenuous, right? But it still was like a character, but not really. It was just what I was. Yeah, I don't know. But I don't know. There's many aspects of my life and that I don't know, like that didn't work out. In music, I dedicated like 12 years of my life to like, I play music, and like it didn't work and I don't even know what work means, because who does it really work out for? Like, I don't know what that means in 2025. So maybe
Taylor Swift.
Well, we could go into that. Like, okay, maybe it works for her like acutely, like she has $1 billion and sells out stadiums, but like, what's it like at night when the lights are off in the bed? Like, I don't know. Does she feel as good as I do? Because I wake up feeling fucking great every day. And I'm like, good night, son. And like, everything feels fine. Everything feels proper for a 39-year-old man. And I was like, it feels, I guess what I'm saying is where I'm at feels so comfortable that I don't know how that would have made it better. I don't know how, if music worked out for me, it would have made my life better than it is. Because anything it would have brought me, I either don't give a shit about or already have. So, you know what I'm saying?
Well, you might not have what you have now. If that worked out in a different way, you might not have what you have now.
I'd imagine it can only be worse. And I don't think that's true for everyone. I think, but I do feel like the things I value in life are, surprisingly simple. I don't know how I came around to just being like a 1950s traditional man, I guess. But that feels better to me than anything I've ever done. And I've done a lot of stuff. And like, it was all kind of cool, I guess. But like, nothing is better than like just being like 39 and like cutting your grass. To me.
Kids change you.
Kids absolutely change you. And I think they change people to different degrees. And they changed me in I only have one. You got the alpha setup. You got a boy and a girl, which is like fucking the coolest thing you could have. You get your foot in both worlds. I call it the alpha setup.
It's terrible.
But you could have 2 girls. You could have 2, but you get both worlds. But I get one. Lucky. So I have one son, and we could talk about how kids change. But I feel like whatever you were originally asking me, we're so far from that I don't want to go any further out.
Yeah. Well I mean, I
don't even remember what it was.
I knew this was going to happen because
you know me and you know I don't fucking stop.
No. And this is exactly what I wanted, because like you and I we always talked at work, right? But we never had like, we were at work, so it wasn't like we could just hang out and just shoot the shit. So, I wanted to get to the music, and we kind of touched on that a little bit, but I wanted to finish up with the, meeting your wife, getting married, and we can get into fatherhood and how that's kind of made you who you are today. And then we'll go back to the music and shit like that. But I'm in the same boat. I mean, I cannot imagine, my life without children.
Yes.
And
And
there's people who don't want kids, and that's fine.
rightfully, and there's
fine.
people who can't have kids too, which is like
Which is
sucks.
terrible.
So,
I mean, we were,
probably the worst thing that could happen.
Yeah, I mean, Amanda and I were in that boat. I mean, Lincoln came easily. It was like, hey, you want to have a kid? I said, yeah, let's try. And it's like, okay, we had sex and pregnant baby. It was literally that easy.
Yeah.
The second one was not. There was 3 losses
crazy?
in between the two. We had to resort to IVF. But that's part of the journey too. It's like,
yes,
anything
the
worth
full
having.
Experience, man.
Yeah, anything worth having is like, they say
Yes.
it's work or whatever. Or it just takes a lot of.
I mean, that whole process, not to cut you off, and I apologize, but what you just said, you said in like 10 seconds, but there's like a whole world of like feelings and days where you felt strange or whatever in there that changed you molecularly. And it changed the man who I'm talking to right now. And you just say it. Like, that's true of so many things for so many people. You're just like, this journey, and then this happened. But like, there was like months in between all of that. And like, it changes who you are. And like nothing to me, like when it comes to, there's all types of things like that in life, death of family, all of that shit. But like when it comes to creating a life or creating a person, like it's a whole different game, and it hits you deeper, and it touches a part that like you can't get to through any other experience. There's no other.
Yeah, and that's so. I appreciate people who don't want kids. That's fine.
So do I.
But what I would love to do is to be able to have them feel the joy that I have just for a day. And that's not to change their mind in any
Yeah.
But just like, it's such an amazing thing. So
it is. It's complicated though for people who don't want kids.
Yeah.
It's complicated.
It's like, but like, what was like that like for you as like, someone married and was that like was that a goal of yours to have children? Like, so because like for me it was like I could go either way. You can have kids, great. If not, that's cool too.
So it was always like a peripheral thing for me. Like I remember being in my 20s, like, like a kid one day. And then like I always told myself to go back to music, that, if I didn't make it or whatever that meant by the time I was 30, that I'd stop. And I did. So at 30, I was like, all right, time to get a job and like do the thing, get the house. And my wife was with me the whole time. And then it was like, okay, so it was around 2017. It was like 4 years into our relation, 5 years. We were like, she was like, my wife was not interested in children. And I don't think she would mind me saying this, was not interested. But then she was like, like she loved me enough that she's like, you would be a good dad. I could sense it. Like, I will have a kid. We will do it. And so it's a very conscious decision that we made. So I was like, all right, let me, do some things financially. We moved into a bigger house, we rented the house at that time. And then we were like, okay, we're going to do it. And then a similar situation to your first one, it just hit like right off the bat. And I was like, oh, I was like, whoa, crazy. And it just, but I knew I wanted it and she wanted it. So there was never any like looking back or any hesitation. And I remember when she told me, and I'm sure you felt this feeling that's like, I wasn't like the elated, like, oh my God, baby guy. I wasn't that guy. I wasn't scared either. I was like,
oh shit.
I was like, here we go, motherfuckers. Like, let's go. It's like, now I have to do true responsibility because, for a woman to be like, I want to have your baby, she's putting a lot of trust into you. Not just like, I don't mean just in like some like provider sense or some traditional masculine. I mean, like, she's trusting you, like, hey, I trust you to be like an influence for these kids to help me through it because the mother bears the burden. Mm-hmm. Like they do. Like in pregnancy, I just like had sex and then like sat there for 9 months. Like she grew. She did all the work. They do all the work.
They do all the work.
They do. And I respect that about women. But so when they put that type of trust in you, it's like, hey, my stomach's going to get bigger and then a fucking kid's going to fly out in 9 months, which is like crazy. Like as stupid as that sounds, it is fucking crazy.
It's crazy.
It's like, you feel the responsibility of like, I have responsibility to that child and I have responsibility to this woman who's like gonna do this thing. It's just like fucking crazy. It's like, it's just, I think I still think something about pregnancy and like the fact that women have children the way they do is like more mind blowing to me than like if aliens or ghosts exist. I'm like, they grew a kid from nothing. Like it's fucking like crazy. But I felt the responsibility of that, and I was like, yeah, let's do it. And it felt good. That was the crazy thing about it. It didn't scare me. I felt like, okay, I have a purpose. I have a purpose now in my 30s that isn't like, writing a song or whatever, which was all fun. But I was like, oh, this is different. Mm-hmm. This is like someone and another someone. Two people are going to like they don't need, the kids really need their mother, but the father plays a huge role. That's a different conversation. But you're like, I'm needed. And I need to I need everything that I do. I need to cut out the bullshit. I need to be a positive influence to both of them. I can't stress them out. I can't stress them out on this experience. And knowing that and feeling that implicitly, I know men do have actual hormonal changes and women have way more, but during pregnancy, and I was just like, that responsibility didn't scare me. I was like, nice. I was like, this is going to be good. And I still feel that way. I think for some people, it scares them. I think for some men, and I don't know what that's like, but it's obviously true because there's so many. And I know that you being a family man as well, can't understand how people leave their kids. That's fucking, that's so out there to me. It's so foreign to me. And I'm like, but lots of people do it all the time.
It's crazy.
And that's so crazy to me.
I always tell my wife, I'm like, yo, if for whatever reason this didn't work out, can we just still live in the same house and you could.
I couldn't, yeah.
I couldn't imagine not kissing my kids, hugging my kids goodnight. I just could not imagine that.
Same. And I don't know. So that's proof right there that the vast difference, the way people, men specifically, interpret the same situation differently. That you were like, I cannot imagine a scenario, or I would not kiss my kid goodnight. And then at least half of the male population is like, I don't want to see my kids. That's fucking
crazy.
And just in that little moment. So that is evidence to me why it is such an investment for a woman to be like, I trust you enough to do this. You're like, oh, I better not fuck this up. And to get serious. And that's one of the ways that it absolutely changes people for the better. And it changed me in certain ways because I never drank. I never did any drugs. I never liked nightlife. I never had to be like, all right, I'm not going to go out and throw darts with the boys. I never had to overcome any of that, thankfully. Yeah. For whatever reason. It's not because I'm cool. It just never interested me. But what it did do is you wouldn't be able to tell. But at the time, at that time in my life, my late 20s and in my 30s, I really recoiled. And I didn't talk much. I was kind of just observing the world. I was maybe a little strange. I definitely was different than I am now. But I remember being I can't be that way if I want my kid to have a normal life. For example, we went to STEM night at the high school last night, and my son got to check out little the college kids had shit set up these little tester STEM science centers.
Yeah.
And I was like, that stuff doesn't bother me to go be social and hang out and be like, look, buddy. And that kind of did before he was born. I would have had no interest. I'd been like, fuck that. Fuck talking to people. Fuck doing it. And then I realized oh, I can't be that way if he's going to get the most out of life.
Right.
So I changed. That's the part of me that changed for him. I was I can't be fucking odd. I can't be in social or because I've always been kind of off. I was never too interested in being part of society, but I was I'm not going to pull my son out of society because I'm I see the world the way I do. No, I'm going in, and he's going to get a proper childhood experience because he deserves that, and I'm not, and he's not going to be shorted on it because I'm I coach baseball, dude. What the fuck is that? That's crazy.
Which is wild,
it's wild. I played baseball, and I was on the All-Star team.
I saw your name on the.
My name's up on the thing, so I get a little respect. But that's so foreign to me. If you'd have told me at 29, I'd be like, what the fuck are you talking about? That's crazy. And it would have been true. But I was like, no, I got to fucking do that shit and be just invest and be the best father I can. Because think, okay, so when I say I was laying on my deathbed at 80, I don't give a fuck if I ever go to Italy. I don't actually care, but I'll be did I do the best for him? And if the answer is yes, I'll just shut my eyes and die, and I don't fucking care. I don't. But if you were oh, what? Oh, I should have got that promotion. And that's such a cliche thing to say, but and I do pursue all that stuff, but I don't fucking, that doesn't.
Well, that might be a good time to talk about something you saw me post.
Oh, Liz, I knew it. I kind of half brought this up.
Yeah.
Yes, the thing you said specifically, and I agreed with you to an extent. You said that, all you cared about was being an influence to your children, being with your children, which I respect. But you said, I don't care about my job. And I was like,
yeah,
I knew what you meant. I knew what you meant, but I was like, John.
I want to hear I want to hear your thought. I think I know where it's going, but basically, I basically said, there's people that, get consumed by, their job, making the money, getting the promotion, or they're consumed by, working out and being a fitness influencer or whatever it might be, or being a beauty influencer.
Mentally ill.
But that's how that's what defines them. And I was like, my job doesn't define me. None of it defines me. The only thing that defines me is, being a good father to my children. And you're like,
Well, obviously, I can't argue with it when you frame it that way, and the sentiment is correct. But what I was saying is as a father. So first of all, I got to go back a little bit. So mothers are implicitly important to children, and for the woman to carry to be the mother, the feminine role, whatever it is. But as a dad, the way that we take care of children, we don't have breast milk. So we take care of them through the mechanism of society, through the mechanism of the world. We don't have anything implicitly that they need. A kid needs the mother's love, the whole thing. They grew them. Our job is to go out there and get shit or bring it back or live in a way that's an example. And that's my opinion. So, and one of the ways that we do that is by what me and you do when we leave the house is the example, and it is what we do for our children. So, I over literally took what you said because I knew what you meant. And I was like, your job is your advancing at your job, not advancing at your job. Those are all implicit messages to your family. To hey, I go to work and I go to sleep under the stairs when I get there, and I don't really care to advance. And hey, honey, we got to cut back on turning the heat up because I can't afford it. That's a message, and it's a message from a father. It's a message from and I know I'm going way deep into this, but
go deep.
But that sends the message that teaches a son or a daughter, but a son. Maybe even more so in this case. I don't know that. Of what it is to go out into the world and what you do when you get out there. I know Jordan Peterson's a very controversial man, but when I read his book when my wife was pregnant, and 12 Rules for Life, and one of the rules, and I thought this was amazing, was don't do anything that makes your child afraid of adulthood. Don't come home and complain. Don't do anything that makes them be I don't want to grow up, because it gives them Peter Pan syndrome, whatever he says. And so I always felt that whatever I did when I left the house was that was my message, even though I wasn't with him. He needed to know that that's what dad does. He goes out there and he comes back, and that's the example I have of what a person is in the world. The mom is the example of right here, right now, what love is,
Caretaker,
what all of that shit. Yes, the very right here, and the father is the what the world is. This is what it's out there, and to live in that world, and to do the best you can in that world. Maybe if it's for yourself or not, but indirectly, I believe that it directly influences the way you fit into the family. And again, this obviously isn't about you, and I was half joking when I said that. But because you explained it a little differently this time, but I was the most important thing a man maybe can do for his family, since we can't do that, we're not going to replace anything the mother does, is go out and just live proper to the best. And one of the ways you could do that is be good at your job. Be good at assimilating into society. So that example is had for the children. So I do care about my job, even if I don't. I make T-shirts. Who gives a fuck about? No one gives a fuck about T-shirts. But I'm gonna wake up and I'm gonna do whatever the fuck it is to the best of my ability, the best that I can, because not only will you excel there and it'll be the best for that company, but then I come home and my son is wherever he was, he did the best. today. And I'm like,
Right.
that's double-edged important. So I think, and I've heard this argument many times, like, not your argument, because again, I'm not, but people saying like, oh, I spend time with my kids. It's like, yeah, that's fucking important. It's so important, but it's just as important that when you're out in the world away from them, you're doing your best because they know it, they sense it, and
Right.
they implicitly. So that's why I was saying that it's still important to focus on your job.
Yes.
Yes, and I was just fucking
No, I know.
I know.
And I think that clip that I had shared was like it was a clip, so there was no like outside of
And
that explanation. But
I just get too testy.
You're absolutely right, though. Like, I mean, even you mentioned the gym before. Like, going to the gym was important for me for two reasons. It was A, for me and my health, and it was B, to see my son, or have my son see, like, know that I'm doing that, because like
Yes.
me growing up, like, that was not a thing that my parents ever did.
No,
It was,
I don't even think there like was gyms when we were growing up.
I mean, like, so he's at the point now. He's like, "Can I come with you?" And I'm like, "But like, just chill,
Fucking
chill. Dude, chill."
Wait till you're grown.
But well, dude, there's kids that are out there doing shit. It's to me, it's like, let them be kids.
Yeah,
I understand
I'm sure people are filming them for the TikTok.
Yeah, I mean, I understand.
They're not just doing it organic. I know, I understand.
But it's like, let them be kids, and But I'm happy that he sees those things and says, okay, that's important, because it's he told me tonight, he's like, all I want to do is he wants to play football, and I'm like, no. But he wants to get bigger. I mean, the kid's he's in first grade. He's 7 years old. He's the height of an 8-year-old.
Yeah, he's tall.
But he wants to get bigger. He's like, I just want to eat. I want to eat meat and eggs. I'm like, bro, like, just chill.
That's awesome.
It is awesome too.
Yeah.
But like, I'm like, and being a parent is like, it's the greatest thing, but it's also fucking difficult.
Yeah, of
to
course.
try and navigate that, and just
the
trying
best
to,
things are difficult, but yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the questions he asked me on the way home from baseball practice is like off the wall, like,
yeah, the way their brains work,
dude.
And it really gives you like a look into the developmental process of the human psyche, like the way they see the world. And I'm like, whoa. It's like, it's so fascinating. Like, my son will ask me some shit. I'm like, how'd you even think of that? Like, how the fuck did that even like, and like the way you perceive things, because they're still operating on like more of an animal brain. And like, that's still in all of us. But I don't even know where I'm going with that. But it absolutely is one of the huge things to me, was seeing like how a person goes from, a blob that like can't move to a fucking conscious human with a personality, with a sense of humor, and like how much of it is like you controlled or affected, and how much of it was just there. And it's like fascinating to so much of it is like, you're like, oh, that's your aunt, like whatever it is. Like, it's like people they never even met or in their bloodline, and it can have similar traits to, like, personality traits, a laugh that sounds the same. And like, you're like, well, and you're like, there's so many fucking things happening at once. And it's not just them. This is every person who's ever lived has been like the sum of everything. And then it's like, you can understand, like, it helps me empathize with everyone else who's alive. I'm like, oh, like, this is fucking crazy. I'm like, we're animal brains, but we're also affected by what we're around. Like, you could think right now, if you were a different person, how different your kids would be. That's such a crazy thought. So, like, if you were just a different guy, they'd be different.
Yeah.
It's fucking nuts. Like, it sounds so stupid. Like, yeah, no shit, Dennis. But like that is such a, and then, so that changes who would be their partner down the line, and like it just changes the whole ripple effect of the world. And it's, I don't know. It's a hard thing to comprehend, and it's so rewarding, but.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's you think about kids who had I think there's kids who maybe come from a broken home or whatever it might be. Like, think about the people who are successful in the world. They're all in some way kind of fucked up. They, divorced parents.
It's a great motivator.
It's crazy. Like, I mean, I didn't stand a chance. I had a great childhood. Parents were together until my father passed away. Like, I had no real struggle so to speak.
Which can be a struggle in a different way.
Yes,
it can
for sure. But it's just like
no one wins. No one wins.
But yeah,
but
I mean,
anyway,
like,
yes.
how do you like are you consciously
So I know what you're saying. I think about that a lot because, like, you could take a person who's like, like Batman, and both their parents died in a wreck when they were young, and then they become some type of like super successful, I invented treadmills person, or like they can be, the fucking homeless person at Skid Row in LA, like screaming into the sky. And when they told you that story, both would make sense. You'd be like, why is that guy screaming in the sky? Like, both his parents died when he was 3. Yeah. You'd be like, And he'd be like, why is that guy so successful at the top of that building? And both his parents died when he was 3. You'd be like, And so like, it's really how a person, their natural temperament reacts to the dynamic around them. And you're just like, this is infinitely complicated. And I learned that from being a parent.
Yeah, but does that come from like
are we about to go nature versus nurture?
Well, no, but the question is, let's just say it happens super young, and you didn't even have time to influence them enough to where it's like,
that's such a big deal. Yeah,
right. But like, how does it happen? I don't even know. It's just crazy.
I don't know. I think there's a something in us all, like a pinball machine. Like there's the pinball moving around, but these things are like in us, and like the way it hits it and why it's like the way. Like my son will react to me certain ways about certain things, and I'm like, I know that temperament. I was like, that's me, or that's part of me, or that's part of your mother, that's part of like your aunt or your whoever. And I'm like, so I know that, and now I know how to treat you to navigate that. I know I'm like, you're stubborn when it comes to these things. And if I push that button, it's not going to do any good for anyone. But if I go around it this way and get it a certain way, and I know how to navigate your natural temperament, we can work that out of you because it's a negative thing. But like that goes back to the earlier conversation about us as millennials being much more conscious of what we're doing. But it is like, and people without kids or something will be like, I want my kids to be like this. I was like, you never fucking met them. You don't know them. And I always said that. I was like, even my son was like 9 months old. I was like, I don't know him yet. Like I have to wait to see what he becomes. And then like you have this idea of what you want your children or your family to be. And then you have to wait and see like who they are naturally and then work that. You can't just be like bestow these things on them and think that's going to mold them. Because we know that doesn't work. Like it's evident throughout life everywhere that doesn't work. You kind of like, I have this idea. It's like a boxing match. Like I have this idea, but let me see who you are. And I'll bob and weave or hit you this side. And like that dance, like changed the way. And I learned it from being a parent and seeing a human being go change the way I see everyone on earth and every person in a different light of being like, everyone is that. Everyone is both those things. And it really. That's one of the ways it changed me. Is it changed the way I perceive other people, for sure.
Do you ever wonder if you're not doing a good job?
No. Yes. Yeah.
Scary,
yes. There's certain things where I'm like, I gotta watch that, but I don't know how to play it because, as I'm sure you know, this is it. Like you don't want to be a bad guy. And we know parents who won't be the bad guy, and you see where the kid ends up. Like you have, at some point, you got to be like, all right, motherfucker, like I'm going to punish you, and this is what it's going to be. I don't want to do this.
No.
But I have to. I have to do this to you. And sometimes I worry that I don't. I always say I try to make the balance of, the gentle parent mixed with however the fuck my parents were raised by those heathens. I'm like, I want to be right there in the middle. I want you to be like, okay, I could talk to this guy, but he'll also fucking kill me. Like, I'm also scared of him. Like, that's two things need to happen, in my opinion. I don't know, it's an experiment. But one thing I do worry about is like missing certain cues. Like, missing certain things. I'm like, that's a red flag, but I'm not seeing it. It's almost like me. I'm sure you've seen this at some point, like, at a birthday party or something, where you see like a kid does something and his parents just not picking up on it. You're like, they should be telling that kid, you don't hit the girl, like whatever. You don't steal other kids' shit. You don't eat their food. And you're like, did the parents just not picking up on it? I'm like, what am I not picking up on? Is there anything I'm missing that someone else would be like, you fucking idiot? And I'm missing it, and I'm raising like a little demon or something. Like, I try to be as conscious as I can, but I worry that like, I'm like, am I that guy too? That, like I'm doing something that like
Yeah.
I'm not seeing as a problem, but it like so clearly is for everyone. It's a strange thing to say, but that is
Yeah,
something I think
I
about a
get it.
lot.
I get it. Yeah. It's a challenge. There's sometimes I forget what it was that happened recently that I reacted to a situation. It wasn't even like him, my son. I think it was maybe been the dog, and it
Dogs.
like ate at me for a day. Like I'm like, shit. Did I do like did I handle it the wrong way?
Yeah.
Like he's gonna see that and think that's how you react. Like the fucking dog for me, dude. We got a puppy back in April of last year, and like I always say, I joke that I always had very little patience, and any patience that I had is consumed by my children. Like I'm like, okay, the
Yes.
dog put me over the edge.
Yeah.
It just right
Yeah.
over the edge. So I just don't have the patience for an animal who won't listen sometimes, and
Are
it's
you
just
trying to get canceled, John? People love dogs.
I know they do. I
People
do.
love dogs.
I
Man.
and I do love our dog. I
Yeah, I
do,
know.
but in the same sense,
How
like
dare you get frustrated with your dog?
I always say, dude, like
Dogs
dogs.
are frustrating.
Well, they're what do I say?
Yeah, in
Dogs
my
are.
opinion, when you have two young children in your house, like what the fuck's the dog doing? That's just my opinion. It's crap. I'm like, you got a dog shitting in the yard or whatever. I'm like, you got the kids here. Like, my wife's fucking like Queen Animal Planet, and I
Yeah.
always had this other opinion. I was like, what the fuck are we doing? It's like, the dogs are cool. I don't have anything against them, but I get what you're saying. The sentiment of like, I'm focused on like these two things that I have to be focused on, and then like
Yeah,
the
that
dog's
are
just
gonna
like,
that are going to like hopefully like outlive this fucking animal for decades
it's
upon
tough
decades.
balance.
And I
I
always say
know.
that like dogs are dumb and they're needy. And I say not that they're dumb that they can't learn. They're very
Yes.
smart in that aspect, but they'll eat literally anything,
Yes.
and they're just needy. And like like for me, like, even humans who are needy is a turnoff for me,
Yes.
guy or girl. Like if you're a needy individual, like it's just like it's just
So you don't like your resources being eaten up by bullshit.
yeah, it just
Get out of here. I agree with you.
it's a weakness to me. It's like this neediness. Like, oh, I need love. I need like attention. I
He
need
love
like need it. Like need
Morrissey.
it. Like I need
Yeah.
this. Like so I
I
don't know.
understand what you're saying because those are people who pull inward. It's like a vortex, like I need instead of the outward. I understand what you're saying. I could see how you'd be
Yeah.
I guess I'm put off by that too.
Yeah. I don't even know how we got on the dog, but
Well, you were talking about the you setting the example and like I guess you got frustrated with the
oh
dog.
yeah,
You're
yeah,
like,
yeah,
did I handle
yes.
that right?
But yeah, it's constantly like always trying to be the best version of yourself to show your children how to handle situations or how to respond to things, and it just
Yeah, it's
it's a
tough.
lot.
You know, I know when I do the wrong one, I'm like, fuck. So I
Yeah,
don't double down on it like my dad would have. He'd been like, shut up.
yeah,
I'm like, buddy, I was like, I was out of line. I was like, that's not
yeah.
how you do it.
I've done the
Dad,
same thing.
yeah. I'm like,
Good for
dad
you.
was wrong on that one. I'm out of line.
Yeah,
Yeah. I
I,
think that's,
have
I
always
think,
said, I'm like, hey, dude, like I handled it the wrong way, and I'm sorry, like whatever.
yeah.
But again, I think that goes into who we are as people in this generation,
Yes.
and how we're
Yes.
able to acknowledge it,
Yes.
say
That
we're
seems to be the
sorry.
thread of this conversation is that we're at an interesting age and time where we understand like the old world and the new world and trying to balance them
Yeah,
together.
yeah. It's a struggle.
It is.
It's a struggle. But
That's one of the hats.
enough. Yeah, enough of the family stuff. People are probably bored with this by now, but
I don't know. It's
I hope not. I hope not. I mean, I think it's important stuff that we people are going through, but one thing I did want to talk about, and we touched on it a little bit, but your band life, your goal to be a musician, Astorian Stigmata. I'm not sure if you had bands prior to that or not, but
no.
I mean, I just shared on my story today one of your songs because I think it's awesome.
Thank you.
Talk to me about that band. I mean, how did it start? I mean, like, how did you start as a musician? Like, what
That's so
was
strange. So, all right. I always had an interest in music. As like a little kid, I remember listening to like, fucking Siamese Dream and like Evil Empire, Rage Against the Machine and a Walkman and playing drums with like my Connects. So I always played drums. I got like a drum set when I was like 8. Drums were my main thing. I played them into my teen years. When I was 16 years old, I won a BMX contest that was sponsored by Fender, and they gave me a guitar. And then 2 years later, I blew out my knee for the first time. So, and back then they did the surgery. Like, you didn't walk for fucking like 9 months. You weren't recovered. And the guitar was on my wall. And I was like, fuck it, I'll learn to play the guitar. I was 17. So I started playing guitar actually pretty late, comparatively. And my favorite band at that time was Modest Mouse. And the first song I learned to play was Dramamine by Modest Mouse. And it's like, every song I ever wrote was just a ripoff in some way of that. So it developed my whole entire, the way I would hold my hand, the way I would play. It developed everything. So, and then I put the guitar down for like, until I was like 19. And I was like playing my drums. I was like, I want to try writing a song. I was like, but I don't really know how to play guitar a little bit. So I would like write songs in my head. And this was 2005. This is before people could just record like on anything. And I was like, fuck, how do I do this? So I like bought the recording equipment. I taught myself how to mix and master. I would just sit there like all night when I wasn't at parties or whatever and like taught myself how to record. And at that time, like MySpace was happening. So I started uploading songs to MySpace. Well, I was writing songs for like 2 years, and then my dad died in 07, in March of 07, and I was writing songs up to that point, but I was kind of like scared to sing, and, I had tons of demos. It's just what I did. I just wrote songs all night, and like I played the drums to them. So I played every single instrument, and I recorded them, mixed them, and when my dad died, I was like, fuck it. I was like, I'm going to start putting them out. It was like, for some reason, it was like my shave the head moment. And I did. I started putting them on MySpace. And at that time, it was like I was in college. It was like a big deal. Like you went into class the next day and people were like, you have a song? Like everyone didn't have songs then because they didn't know how to record. It was still hard to do. So I was doing that. And then I would put out songs for like up until 2008. I'd put out songs like just singles on MySpace like once a month. And I made records. And I had written like 60 songs or so by myself that I produced, mixed, mastered, put out, did all the shit, whatever. And it was very like indie-esque at that time. And then in 2008, I was like, let's try and like play. Like, let's try. I have friends, like, let's try and do this. Sean Carey's a good friend of mine, started playing bass. And then Al Martino, we got him to drum. And like, that was like the first rendition of the band under the same name, because I always released music under that same name. And I took the name from a show, an HBO show called Carnival. It was one of my favorite fucking shows of all time. There was an episode called Road to Astoria, and I was like, yeah, I like that word. And I was like, what sounds good with it? And it's just an odd name. It's like stupid, but I always like the way things look phonetically. And I was like, I like the way that looks, but no one ever remembered it, so it wasn't a good idea. But like, and then, so after a few years of doing that, and I had songs that were like ready to play. So we started as a 3-piece with us 3. And then we played our first show at Cafe Metropolis, of course, in like 2009. So I've been recording for 4 years before I ever played a show. I was like 23, first time I played on stage. And then, we kept doing that. And we started traveling a lot. Like we were like playing New York on like a Wednesday night, like play a really bad show that would just destroy your ego. I did that for years. And then eventually, like we had so many member change. By 2011, it was like people were kind of coming and going and adding. And then like that kept going until like 2012 that we settled on that lineup with like me, DJ, Kyle, and Matt, which ended up being like, the bulk of it. And then I had written some songs in 2012 and then I recorded them all myself. I recorded a record, Ashes of Angels. I recorded that mostly myself and DJ played the guitar. And then like they started recording on it. And then from there on out, we were like a band. Like we would record the songs together, but really up to that point, it was just kind of me. I'd be like, hey, I got the songs. Like, let's put what you want to them. It was like really kind of strange, like the way it was run, because I was always such like a overly controlling person, which in retrospect was actually a really bad idea. But at the time, like I was just like, I could play everything and I can record this and put it out tomorrow. It's like, so that was always kind of my attitude. And I've still lived that way. Like in everything I do, I'm just like, now let's go. And I got it from there. And it kind of tampered a lot of what it could be and other people's contributions. And if they watch this, it's probably the first time they'll ever actually hear me say that. But I think it could have been something different if I was willing to let go. But that's just not who I am. Like, I'm always like, fucking, let's rip. And that's why I wrote like 270 songs. Like, I really have like 14 albums of like music. I think there's like 4 or 5 on Spotify, but like full on out over the like 10 years or whatever. So I was doing it at that rate. Whatever. Okay, so we put out that record in 2012. We start playing a lot more, and we start to really define the look. You know, like I'm like, yeah, I want it to look fucking cool or whatever. I had long dreads at the time, like fucked my hair all up. But like, I liked that. I was like, let's just like lean into some weird shit. And we all did it. And then like we made videos and stuff. And it was like, we were just having fun. We were like, let's break the basement and film it. And that'll be the video. Like, we're very much influenced by like not being really, like, we really were just being ourselves. And we were friends, and we're still friends. And you know that because we all work together, and we're still friends. It's like, we could just play, but we don't. But so it was all like very much about like, we're just going to do it the way we do it. And like, I don't know, fuck it. But we also did really, like, we toured and stuff. We did all that shit. It was very difficult, like very DIY. There wasn't a lot of bands we could tour with. So there was, and we played from, essentially that lineup was 2012 to 2015. So it was really only 3 years. And, I think we did 3 records in that time. We like moved to Los Angeles. So we lived in Los Angeles for a year and a half. We're playing on the Sunset Strip. We had a manager, that stuff. And it was fun. It was actually a good time. But like at that time that we moved there, was 2014. It was like right at the tail end of needing to leave your town to do something. It was like right around 2015. It was like, no, you could have stayed in Wilkes-Barre and just like got a fucking TikTok that wasn't out at that time, but like, and been fine. Like, so you didn't have to, we really entered the tail end. Like, we signed like a little record label. We entered the tail end of like a very dead industry. It's like we showed up to the party at 4 a.m. Right. And I was like, and I knew it. I was like, oh, this fucking kind of sucks. and that did suck, but the landscape of it changed so much, because by that time, like, my one up in the beginning was like, oh, I record my songs and I put them out. But by 2015, that was just like, everyone could fucking do that. Like, it was like a dime a dozen. And so, and there was just people and shows and bands everywhere. And like, it always seemed like we would get these like little breaks and little things and like, oh, this is cool and that's cool. But it was always just like a red rubber ball, like something bounced. And this still happens to a lot of bands. And I had this point where I was about 28, and I was like, all right. And I had said this to myself the whole time. I was like, if I turn 30 and it's not working, whatever that means, I'll stop. And I did. But at 28, I was like, hey, not looking good. I was like, but I'll ride it out. I'll see what it is. And we always had these little moments of like, hey, this could be something. And there was always like someone who was like, no, you guys are really good. And we knew, since we were such like good friends and we played together, like when we play, we're like, this feels right. And we played a lot of good shows. Like we did a couple tours. Like we had moments when we had some fans and stuff, like the people who liked us. But like, I felt like I had this strange feeling of like, if I stay in this loop of like always getting like, a little more, we got 10 more fans, and oh, there's another show is a little better than the last. I was like, this is like a drug addict. Like, this is addiction. And this could ruin my fucking life if I stay in it too long. I knew it. I knew that if I got to 30 and I was still trying to like, play at the Vintage Theater again in Scranton or something and just bring more people this time, that it would like, I was like, I'm leaving that headspace. I have to leave it. I have to go. And it was hard to do because like I just dedicated since I was 19 years old, all of my life, 11 years to this. I didn't fucking work. I like hardly worked. That's one thing I give myself, is that I committed to the life. I wasn't like half-assing it with like a day job. Like, no, I was fucking committed. I was like, I write songs today. And it was depressing. And we could talk about that in a different aspect, that how I was not happy at all that whole time. How could you be? How could you be? And I didn't even know what being happy meant till I was like 33. But like, so I did that whole thing, and at 30, like, we did a record called Pennsylvania. It was my favorite record. And everybody says that at the end. I know you've interviewed a lot of guys who've been around for a long time. They're like, we're making the best music ever 30 years in. I was like, you're making the best music ever because you feel like all these lessons that you've learned and what you like and what you don't like about your songs, you're putting them into this one. And you like it the best, but like no one else does, because they like that veracity of youth and being young and not really knowing what you're doing and riding the line between like just figuring out what your sound is. Or that's why so many bands' first and second records are so good, and then they kind of find themselves and it gets boring or whatever. That's not always true. But so I was like, I'm going to write the one that I always wanted to write. And by my standard, I did. I was like, and no one ever has listened to that record, like ever. It's not even on anything. But like, I'll go back and listen to it sometimes now. And I put so much work into that. Like crazy. It was my last ditch. It actually came out when I was 30. So I was already working full time. I was like, this isn't going to do anything, but this is my final, like, I did it. I wanted it to sound great. I fucking mixed the shit out of it. I did everything, 12 songs, whatever. And then I was like, it's done. And we played one show after it, and that was it. I was like, we're done now. That was it. That was the end of it. So it ended like super abruptly, me knowing that like, man, I can't keep chasing this. I can't keep doing this. And who does it ever really work out for anyway? I was like, we were on some low level of like nothingness, but like, I picture someone who was like moderately successful. Like I think that's worse. It's worse to like get involved and be a bigger band and just be getting the red rubber ball higher. It's always moving target. It's like, this is like addiction. And I felt almost like submissive to it. Like, just one more show and then one more record and this will be the one. I was like, this is fucking stupid. I was like, I feel embarrassed to myself. Not that it was embarrassing and people were enjoying it and I was actually making enough money to live. Because I was making like fucking handmade box sets and shit and selling them. So I was affording my like living. Mm-hmm. But like, I was like, what am I doing? I'm not doing anything. No one fucking needs this art. I was like, and as you get older, it's just like, this can't be what I do. And I have very like extreme opinions that we don't have to go into on like the concept of art and its place in the world in general. Cause I dedicated so much of my life to it that I got this clarity of it that like, oh, and I had to confront with myself that I wasted 11 years I didn't waste. It wasn't a waste. Like I learned so many lessons from it, but only because I stopped. If I didn't stop, and I'm sure you know some people like this because I know plenty who like didn't stop or aren't stopping, and it's like, man, like it's like, you know, the troops in Iraq. It's like, well, when do you pull out? You've been here 15 fucking years too long. It's like now it's in vain. Now it's like just keep going. They're like, this is going to be the next one. And I had to get myself out of that. And it was like a hard shut off. And I was just like, I'm going to work. I'm shutting this shit off. And that's what we're doing. And I shut it off for 7 years. And I wrote some songs, recorded some. That song came out in 2020, the one specific one you're talking about, which was 4 years after we stopped recording. And I did a few things here and there just to keep myself active. But like I hard shut it off. Like I shut off that part of myself. It was like, I have to stop it. I have to be like, I'm having a kid, I'm buying a house. Like I have to get out of that mindset. And I didn't really start coming back to being creative in any way until I started doing YouTube again like 2 years ago. But I originally had done YouTube the whole time I was in that band. I made 2 weekly videos every week. Like, hey, is our show's at? And, you know, and I would do funny stuff. Like, and we got recognized by YouTube for that. And they like flew us out there. It was cool. Like we made a video with them, but they were like, oh, we want people to use YouTube like you are. That's what they told me when they called me. And they're like, so we want to help you do it further because you're using it almost as like a vlog for your music. I was doing that in like 2012, which I guess was like a little early on at that time.
Sure, yeah.
But like, and I was like, just because I just like to talk. And before I resolve this idea is that I noticed when I think back in retrospect, the things I loved most about that time in my life playing music was that I loved hanging out with all my friends, like, but it was not even playing. It's not like I felt this magical thing when we were playing. I was like, we're between songs, like hanging outside, and that was nice. Like we had a nice thing. I loved more than anything though, sitting in the fucking like room by myself with all the lights off and headphones on and writing a song and coming up with a song. That was like cathartic to me. Like you're finding this world. And that's a very selfish experience. It would have been audacious of me to believe that the joy I was feeling doing that meant something to other people. And it might have or it might not, but I think that's where a lot of artists get confused and stay in it too long. is that they feel like that joy is transferable. And to me, not really. It was my internal experience. And then the other thing I enjoyed, which is strange, was I enjoyed between songs talking to the crowd. Like fucking with people. I loved it. I would like, people would heckle me. I'd be like, we got one? I got a fucking heckler? Like, let's do this. Like, whatever. Like, I'll chase this down the fucking to the end. Because I enjoyed that dynamic of just seeing like, whatever, 5 people, 50 people, whatever it was. And just being like, what's up? Like, yo, we're in Oklahoma. Tornadoes. Like, just fucking with people and like connecting with them on that way. Like, I always enjoyed that dynamic. So it was weird. I enjoyed being on stage performing, not the music, like just talking to people, almost like comedy or stand-up comedy or something.
Yeah.
Like I enjoyed that feeling. And I do a lot of public speaking still. And like, I think that I just, for some reason, I confused my enjoyment for that with performance. I was never an artist. And I know that now, which is a crazy thing to say. But I realized that like in the bathtub at like 35 years old, I was like, oh, I wasn't like an artist. Because most artists are fucking assholes. Like they're like if you're a good artist, you're a fucking dick and like your girlfriend hates you. Like it's true. I believe that. I do believe that. I wasn't a good artist. I was organized and I was focused. So I was able to like cosplay. Like I was able to sit down and write a record because I was just disciplined enough to do it. I was using discipline and focus instead of like art, if that makes any sense. And yeah. I realized that way later. And I think more people do that than they think. Like I was able to get through the process. I was able to like figure out how to record. And I liked that. That's why I'm doing this microphone. I think I liked setting up the microphone to record the guitar more than I liked recording the guitar. Like it was just this thing to do for me. And I was essentially, again, to use the same phrase, cosplaying as an artist through organization, which, you know, I don't know if that's kind of a grim thing to say, but I do look back on that time with a lot of joy, but also like, I'm so glad to not be in that and that I did make that decision at the time that was difficult to be like, I'm done. Fuck this. This is crazy. I don't know.
At least you had it though. Like there's like these, you know, some people go through their entire lives and they're like, oh, I wish I would have done that.
It's so important because I have that's not the only part of my life where I felt like I did the thing. Like, and I'm like, I'm glad that I did because I know why people don't do it though, because I can honestly look back and be like, I tried for a very long time to be a successful musician. And I know the concept of what that is all, but I failed. And that hurts. But it doesn't hurt me now. It hurt me at the time. But like and now in retrospect, I'm like, oh, that wasn't supposed to work. And now I know that I can do things that feel right that aren't right. Like it taught me, it sounds crazy, but it taught me the lesson to be like you not don't trust yourself, but like you can convince yourself that you love like something or that you're meant for something when you're just not. Like, and that sounds fucking nuts, but like, that's really the most important thing that I learned from it. And it was cool to have done it. Like I could say like I played at the Viper Room or whatever, River Phoenix, like the whole thing. I could say that. And like, it was cool. But it's funny. I tell this story sometimes because it's a stupid story. We did, and this is how you know, like we're the most Wilkes-Barre fucking people is it at the Viper Room. We opened up for like Coal Chamber or something. Like it was some band that was like a thing 10 years before that no one cared about. But the show was like sold out. And we had the same manager or whatever. And we were just the opening band. And I forgot my ID. To get in it. And they wouldn't let me in. I was like, dude, I'm in the band, you know? Like, I got to set up my shit. He's like, you set up your shit and get the fuck outside because you forgot your ID. And I was like, fuck. And, you know, this was Matt, Kyle, and DJ. And so they all stayed outside with me. But when we did this, when we got to the show, like I was like, cool, the Viper, and we walked in the door and they were like, who are you? I was like, oh, we're the first band. They're like, get the fuck out of here. Because the Coal Chamber was sound checking. I was like, these motherfuckers are kicking us out of their sound. I was like, are you fucking crazy? I was like, fuck Johnny Depp counting crows working behind the bar. I was like, fuck this bullshit. I was like, this is ridiculous. You're kicking me out of Coal Chamber's fucking sound. I was insulted. So then I had to go wait outside for 2 hours. And then we came into play. And when we came in through this front door. It's like right off of Sunset. And then like there's a curtain over the stage, and I'm like, is this a fucking curtain? They're gonna unveil us like we matter, like this is a fucking curtain. But they do that so, you know, people are setting up or whatever, and I had no clue because I hadn't been in the bar. I didn't know how many fucking people were there. So this fucking curtain just like flops open, and I look over at DJ, he's like giggling. I'm like, and before we even play, I couldn't take it seriously. I'm like, was that a fucking curtain? And like 100 fucking Hollywood nights, fucking, you know, got, you know, those people who are just so into whatever, you know, fuck. That's a whole different route. But they all turn and look at me and give me the dirtiest look. Like, fuck you. Like, they look at me like, you're odd. And I'm like, that was a curtain. I was like, that was so fucking, are we joking? Are we trying to be serious? And I'm saying this to these people. And I'm like, I was like, I'm not meant for this. I was like, I'm not meant for this. Like, this is a joke. I was like, fucking, that was a curtain. And for some reason, that curtain always sticks out to me as so symbolic of the fact that, like, I was like, I can't fake this. This is fucking stupid. And that's that Pennsylvania Northeast attitude of like, no, we're going to fucking do it. We're going to be real. And I'm like, what the fuck is this? This is stupid. And that was like a huge like turning point for me. And that was like 2014. So it was like a year or two before that I was like, nah, this is stupid. Like, music is like, you're not opening a curtain in front of me at the Viper Room and I'm going to be like, think it's cool because Anthony Kiedis died on the sidewalk or whatever. Like, I'm not playing any of that fucking game. I was like, fuck that. And I was like, and that's what all this is? I was like, I don't want this. This is stupid. And I knew it was like, I love music. I love writing music with headphones on in my room in the dark, but I'm not coming out here and like presenting myself to like fucking people high on coke who are just trying to fuck and like a fucking curtain opens. I was like, this is fucking, and that's just me. That's like my defiant kind of attitude.
Right.
But that's one of the reasons I knew. I was like, nah, we gotta go. I gotta get out of here.
Do you think you suffer from like thinking that what you do doesn't matter?
Yeah, does it? That's just what. Well, like in what way? Like, so we just talked about being a parent for an hour, and all matters.
Like, maybe like from like a creative standpoint. Like, do you feel like, because to me it sounds like to a degree, you know, the music could be great, the performance could be great, but like I get the sense that like you feel like nothing, like what I'm doing doesn't, like, no one cares. Like this is stupid.
Yeah, and I guess I do feel that way. And I don't think the fact that no one cares is a reason to stop doing anything. Like, and I hate to sound confusing in that way, but so I love music. I've loved music my whole life. I don't give a fuck about live shows. Modest Mouse is my favorite band of all time. They fucking suck live. They're
terrible live. Thank you for saying
it's a joke. And it's insulting.
God,
I went and saw them in
bad.
03. I went and saw them in 2003. I was 17 years old. And they opened up with Third Planet, which is like, of course, you know, one of my favorite songs. And I was like, did he even just play it? It was like he was out of tune. It was bad. I was like, I'm insulted. It was terrible. I was like, I'll never come and see them again. But I always loved them. And like what that band means to me is like listening to headphones and on my bed. And that's where it got through to me. Just there. Not live. Like, I don't care about live music. Some people love it, and I know they're feeling something I am not. So in that sense, I'm like, when I'm at the Viper Room thing, I'm like, this doesn't matter, because it doesn't matter to me. I've never seen a band. The only band I ever saw live, and I was like, ooh, it was the Gaslight Anthem, one of my second favorite band of all time. The first time I saw them, I'd never heard them before. They opened up for Alkaline Trio at the Electric Factory, and I was like, Jesus, what the fuck is this? And that's the only time I ever had like a real feeling in a live setting. Like, other than that, I feel like I'm just standing next to people listening to a song that I could listen to my headphones in. So maybe psychologically, I never valued that anyway. Like, I always just valued, again, I told you I wrote music with my headphones on by myself. I listened to music with headphones on. It was always this like personal experience to me that I didn't like to present everything around it didn't matter to me. So I guess I do suffer from feeling like it didn't matter, because it didn't matter to me either.
Yeah.
Does that make any sense?
Yeah. Yeah. It just, I think people suffer from, you know, creating and just thinking that, you know, what they're doing doesn't really matter. I mean, yeah, I suffer from
how many
that
times
myself.
is that true? I mean, how many times is that true? There's been times in my life where it's like, it's all, that's the thing. It's like you gaslight yourself. You're like, Am I just saying, is that my shadow self telling me that this doesn't matter?
Yeah.
Or is it actually like, does it actually not matter? And you can get confused in that situation. That entering the realm of the arts is fucking crazy. It's like, it's for crazy people. And you learn a lot from it. But the thing is I was trying to make a living, and that changes everything. Like I always said, it's like being an OnlyFans model. Like you're taking sexuality and finance and marrying them, and that's crazy. Like you're ruining both. And I think, not that I have no disrespect to, I love that world. That's fine with me. But you're playing a game. You're playing a very dangerous game by taking something that has nothing to do with money and trying to make money from it. And that's one of the things with art, and especially making art for someone. It's like, how does this convert? Like, how do I do this for a living? And I always tried to do that. And I don't think they have much of a business being synonymous with each other, because most people want to do it for a living. And that's kind of the secret of it that no one talks about. Like you'll talk to artists. I know tons of musicians, and they're always going to say something like, I just want to get the message out. I want to be connected with people. Like, no, you don't want to go to work tomorrow. Like literally, I believe, like, you don't want to go to work tomorrow, and not going to work tomorrow because you created something that connects with people all the time. So you could be whatever, Travis Scott, sitting on your couch tomorrow morning, like smoking weed, sleeping, and 1.2 million people are celebrating you by listening to your song right now. You don't know who they are. You don't know where they are, but that feels cathartic and you feel connected. And I can't help but think that so much of that is the subtext of like what really motivates people to want to be. People say, oh, it's music, I'm like, yeah, maybe. I believe you. But it's hard to say. It's hard to really know what actually is motivating you to. And at the time for me, it really was like, I think like why I strived to be a career musician was like, I want to live a different life. Like I want to wake up at noon, which to me now is a fucking nightmare. So it's a nightmare to me to do that. But for some reason, up till I was 30, I thought that was cool. Like I want to wake up and like work on a song. I'd be fucking depressed in the most different way. It wouldn't, and I know that. I know that to be true. But I think that the heart of it that you don't get out of people because it's embarrassing to admit is really just like, I don't want to work. I want to live in a different way, and making art is fun to me. And, there's nothing really wrong with that, but like, you got to be honest with yourself too and be like, is that my motivation? Is it really what I'm trying to do? Am I trying to not go to work tomorrow? Am I trying to be adored by people I never met? Parasocial relationships? Because that could feel good for like a week or whatever.
Sure.
But like, and that usually to me is like the subtext of the motivation. And Jesus, not a religious man, but I reference Jesus instead of saying the universe. It like he built the world that like you don't escape suffering, and there's no way around anything. And so pretend you do get bestowed to be an artist who sells out arenas 2 nights in a row. It's like, yeah, well, what are you losing? There's always a cost to pay for everything. No one fucking wins ever in anything. And you feel like that being an artist would be a cheat. It'd be a cheat code that like you would win. You do get money to do like something you love, and like it's not that. It can't be that. Nothing is that. And that's I don't know.
Yeah.
Does that sound too radical?
No.
That's what 11 years of making music with headphones on does to you.
Yeah. Can you do a pee break real quick?
Yeah. You want to keep going?
Yeah, bro.
All right.
Lots of coverage.
I don't got to piss, but you could piss.
All right, 1 second. All right, we're back.
We've returned.
Well, no, I like that perspective that you just shared about the whole process, because it's not for everyone. And people I think are confused by the whole process of it.
Yeah. I don't know. The art, and then the way the world has evolved too, like not to expand it out, but like, man, there's not much. I hate to say that there's points in history and times in life. So not only in a person's life, but points in like social history where art is more needed than others. And I couldn't think of a time where we're like, we could probably kind of put that shit on the back burner for a little bit. It's just there's just the climate of the phase of society. It's like this empire might be. I'm not trying to go there, like not to trying to have that conversation, but like shit's getting weird. It's like maybe we don't need like Led Zeppelin's still good. Like I could still put on Led Zeppelin, like fuck yeah. Like I could still listen to fucking Poison and be like, every rose has its motherfucking thorn, doesn't it? Like we don't really need much else. It's like time to phase, and this is talking of music specifically. It's like time to phase into a new medium of sorts, if that makes any sense. But it's a wild.
Yeah,
that's another can of fucking worms.
I always say that they'll never be like. I think that whole bands with longevity kind of ends with like the Pearl Jams, the Foo Fighters,
the Killers.
Yes,
I'm ready to have this conversation. My Chemical Romance and the Killers were the last two, in my opinion.
It's just that's it.
It is, and that was the end of a social time. It wasn't just like, oh, there's been no other good band since then. There's just no room or medium or attention span or infrastructure.
Right.
Like literally mean like infrastructure, like fucking like the Capitol Records building. Like it's fucking gone. It's just gone. It doesn't need that era is over for sure. And it's kind of
that goes back to what I said before. That goes back to what I said before. Like we were this like in this holding pattern.
Yes.
And you caught the tail end of like, oh, well, this is cool now, but like everything's changing. Like even like for me, like when I got into the Weekender. I mean, I was an intern in 04, full-time 05. Come like 08, 09, when social media kind of snuck its way in, like it was over. Between the recession in 08 and then like social media hitting in 09, like I
remember 09 being such a pivotal year, like more so than it got credit for at the time.
But like what I'm saying is like we were in this like, oh, we could do this. Like, I remember when I was an intern, I was like, I want to be the general manager and retire at this product. But the time changed and print essentially is dead, and it's a weird thing. And I kind of got into the tail end of all that. Even like as a musician, like you got in the tail end of like what was cool and how things changed with streaming and all that kind of shit. Like it just changed.
Yeah, I felt like most of my life, it might just be the age we are, the generation. I always felt like I was late to the gold rush. I was like, with everything I did, and I don't know why, but everything, I was like late to the gold rush.
I remember even every time, like I finished high school, and a year after I finished high school, they like built a new fucking gym. When I was at King's for college, I used to walk past this fucking building on the corner. It was fucking run down.
Oh yeah,
windows smashed out. All
I remember
shit.
that.
I finished
Old Verdanos.
Yeah, I finished 05. I think a year later, they tore it the fuck down and built a new one. Yeah. Everything I did was just like, oh, okay, this is shit while I was here.
You're an omen, John.
I finished, and it was, nothing that was ever as good as when I was there. Like it just got, I don't know, it's just weird.
Yeah, that's kind of how I feel most of my life, but that's okay. We're not done yet. That's the thing.
We're not done.
Yeah, we got a long way to go.
Yeah,
but hopefully.
Well, yeah, fingers crossed. So I think you should release that album. By the way, at least share it with me. I want to hear it.
Oh, I did release it.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, no one cares.
Is it on Spotify?
No.
Oh, well, that's what
I
I'm
have
saying.
stuff I didn't release, but I'll share it with you on YouTube.
Thank you.
Yeah.
All right. Okay.
I did. I might as well have not released it, but I did.
Well, so you decided, okay, music is done. I need to, we'll call it, quote unquote, grow up.
For lack of a better,
Is that when you kind of entered the world of Axelrad?
Yes, it's the same year. I started working when I was 30. Actually, like a week before my 30th birthday. So I had worked there previous. Like me and Dave were working in his mom's basement because I had a press printing like shirts for like my bands and stuff in like 2006. And of course he was older than me, much more motivated. I like took my press to his mom's house and he did all the shit. And I was like, I'll print a couple. And then he just like did his thing. So I'm not taking like credit for starting that business by any stretch.
Right.
But I was there in the beginning when he did it in his mom's basement. I was like there with him. And that was 2006 to like 8. And so, yeah, so I was there at that time. And then when I started again in 2010 after he had opened the Kingston location. So those 2 years, like he called me in like 2008 and was like, hey, I'm starting this business. I was like, bro, I'm in fucking college. I was like, I ain't doing shit. I was like, fuck this. And then when I was like almost 24, I started working there again at night. So I was doing the music thing and I worked there till 2013. So I moved to Los Angeles. And then when I came back from LA in 2015, like a few months later, I went and I was like, I need a fucking job. I was like trying to find a job at that time. And I was 30. No, I was 29, about to be 30. And I was like, and Dave's like, why don't you just manage this place? I was like, I can't manage anything. And he's a smart guy. He knew. He's like, yes, you can. And I was like, okay. And then it took a while to find my footing. But yeah, 10 years now, I've been doing that. And I focused on that. I still do. But I focused heavily on that for that time. Like through having my kid, through getting my house. It was the backbone that afforded me to do all of that stuff. It was like the mechanism I used to grow up, which is fascinating because it's not a traditional job. So I was very lucky to have that and to have known, I know Dave my whole life since I was a little kid. So I was very lucky to be friends with and affiliated with someone who's as motivated as he is, that I was able to, find my path in that situation as well and be mutually beneficial to that situation. So I was very lucky to have that because it's like, I wouldn't say it's half growing up, but you know the business and how it works. And it's like, I got to go into another unique situation and kind of maintain aspects of my personality that a corporate setting would beat out of you.
Right.
Yeah. So I was lucky enough to have that option when I decided to quote unquote grow up.
Yeah. So, I mean, you've been a part of that business, essentially from, we'll call it day one. I mean,
yeah, there was a little bit of a break in there when I was in Los Angeles, where some core guys were still there. So I don't brush over that part as if I've been there since the beginning. No, I did take a little. Well, I didn't fully commit till 2015.
Yeah, but like, regardless, like Dave's in his mom's basement. That's what that's kind of where it started, right? So like, I mean, that business.
He was hustling. I just showed up and like printed a couple shirts, and I was like, "Cool, dude." Yeah, he was dedicated at that time. He was a little older than me, so he was more serious. He was like, "Yo, I gotta fucking do this." And I was like, I'm 22.
It's, it was a privilege for me to spend some time there. I mean, I
miss you.
It was, I mean, it's a special place, and I made the joke. That's not a joke. It was like when I kind of, did the token like I'm leaving Axelrad to go somewhere else on social media. I said that no one leaves Axelrad on purpose. Like.
Generally true, yes.
It felt weird to be like saying that, right?
You're in a small group of people who like formally left. Yes, very small.
Yeah, no one does that. I mean, it's a and to see the growth from Dave's mom's basement to Kingston, and I essentially met Dave. I forget. I knew of Dave like maybe even before the Kingston shop opened, but like I was part of like helping the launch of that, whether it be through advertising the weekend, or I know he was doing like third Thursdays or whatever it was.
That's crazy. Yeah.
Third,
it was something like Third Thursday or something at the old shop. It was just a social mixer.
Yeah, it was.
I've played at one of those. Yeah, those were cool.
Just seeing where it started to where it is today is just
that's all like, testament to his.
Yeah.
Like having worked there, though, that there's like 7 people who are like, it's not one person. And it's not like 2 people. It's a group of people that made that unique, very unique experiment of like a factory happen. But it's all subsequent of his like philosophy and way of seeing. It clearly wouldn't exist without him in any format. And, there's a lot of people, there's a lot of smart. I dedicated my life the last 10 years to it but like, I'm not business owner. I'm not a business owner. I'm a guy who can come in and run a business, and I'm comfortable with that, and I'm okay with that. He's a business owner. Like he's that thing to me. And I'm like, okay, you be the good business owner and I'll be the guy who comes in and runs it, because that's what so like he recognized that in me before I did, which is a talent in itself, but also his, very, I don't know what's the word you even want to use for it. Experimental, like a style of ownership. There's no one doing, and somehow works, because there's a lot of smart people who are like, this is kind of cool. Like, I always say this. I'm like, I work with like too many people who are too smart to be making T-shirts, because we're not really just making T-shirts, obviously. Right. But there's a lot of people in there. I'm like, this is kind of crazy that we show up and use our like mind power and we make T-shirts. But it's like, because it sounds so silly when you just put it that simple, but that's not really what anyone's making.
So much more than that. Yeah.
Yes. But he obviously was the avalanche of that, and had that vision to make that happen. So I always will give him full credit, because I was there. I say that I was in the basement, whatever, but I'm not trying to take any credit for it, because that's all him. I don't know anyone else who could have started that business. There's no one else. There's no one else.
To see where it started and where it is now is like, it's insane.
It is crazy. So I remember, like, especially in the very beginning when there was less people. So I was there through all phases. I was like the third person, I think, that was like formally hired. And there's a lot of people who've been there over 10 years. And it's like, I remember seeing it when it was 4 people, when it was 7 people, when it was 9 people, when it was 15, when it was 20, 25. And like all those, and how you have to keep rebuilding a business at all of those steps. And like, very much in the beginning, he had like a vision and an idea for it that like I didn't see, like no one else saw. So he kept guiding it in the right direction until everyone kind of caught on to like, oh, this is what we do. And then it took a mind of its own, where it's more than just him, like now, because there's so many people and it's so large. But the ethic just can't go away. It has not left, and it's remarkable. I like wrote an article recently for Impressions magazine, whatever. But that's the one thing I said, and I'm like, you think about like a punk band, like they lose something, like they have to. It's part of it. And I was like, how did this place not lose? Like, people can say, oh, it's different in some way, or it lost something here, but not really. Like, literally not really. And it's crazy to me, being a person who has been there through all the phases and being like, no, this is still just like a crazy experiment situation that like keeps working.
Keeps going, yeah.
It has like on paper, it has no reason to be open. None. No reason. I'm like, I don't mean that like a financial sense or whatever. I'm just like, you got like, it just has no business existing in the format that it does, of like this blend of just odd, like what, like an owner who just gives people full autonomy to like fail on your own. Yeah. I'm like, you're fucking crazy, because I could have crashed this business if I was a little dumber at like 10 different points. And like it could have happened. I mean, he always would have known and came in, but I was like, the trust it takes to be like, yeah, fuck it. Like, yeah, see what you like, to trust in people that way, especially in the beginning, is fucking crazy. It's fucking crazy. And then what you get out of that is this very strange, I know you weren't even asking me about this place specifically, but
I was.
You get this very strange like collection. And I think that's why no one leaves it, because a testament to what you said, or, people do leave it, but we're in different positions. But if you're in it when you feel that energy, you're like, something's happening here that isn't happening anywhere else. And as long as it's progressing, I'll stay. You know what I mean? It's like, so that's the double-edged sword about it, is when you're in this exciting, unique atmosphere, like it can't get stagnant. So everything has this like if you go into a corporate job at Chewy, you're like, I want it to be stagnant. Like, I don't fucking care, because I don't know who gets this money at the end of the day. This is just like a conglomerate. Like, you lose kind of touch of like what it is you're doing. But it's nice in a modern world where so many jobs are like you essentially end up working for private equity in one way or the other. I was like, I don't. It's like, when we have a good day, like, we get some money, and that's cool. And it feels like to be somewhat in touch with the old world. And, that's a double-edged sword. It's complicated in many ways, but that is something I value very much about working at Axelrad specifically.
And that's one thing I miss. I mean, it just the whole culture. It's very much so like you're working with your friends to a degree.
Yeah, which is hard in both directions.
Oh yeah,
yeah. It's not for everybody.
And it takes. I mean, and you're the production manager, and you kind of steer the ship as far as like what goes on what presses and what jobs get fulfilled whenever they are. Like, I mean, is this something you saw yourself getting into, or is this something that just happened?
No, it's definitely something that just happened because I was like I said, when I came back from Los Angeles and Dave was like, just manage this place. I was like, I don't fucking manage anything. I was like, I don't know what the fuck that means. And it really took me like a year and a half to 2 years to like even start to understand and build myself into that role. Because this company's growing at that time. So, and to put myself in that position very early on, I was like, I have to continuously keep it moving now. I was like, I mean, I'm not responsible for sales or any of that at all. That's it's Tony. That's a whole other aspect of we work in tandem, but the production is my thing. And it's a retroactive position. It's like, I respond to what the market, the business, the sales. I'm the caboose that also has a steering wheel, but I'm not guiding it specifically. I'm guiding like an ethic and like production, but I'm not the face of it. I'm not the front end of it. So, and I always knew, I was like, okay, so this company can grow constantly. And we did grow in so many phases, but I knew that as it grew, I had to constantly reinvent my job role and make a new position. I've done it like 5 fucking times. It sucks. It's like super stressful because essentially you have to manage and work until you put yourself out of business. You come up with new processes, new tasks for this new level, delegate it, move up to the next one, do the same thing, and you grow and you make sure you're growing it right at each level. So from a personal experience, it's actually kind of terrifying to do that. Like every 2 or 3 years, you're like, now what? Now, you know what I mean? Like now, how do I grow a business? How do I help grow? What is my part in this? What is everyone's part in this? And it's fascinating to have that type of, not control. Control isn't the right word because I can't like control it on my own, but that ability, and this is again a testament to Dave's chaotic genius, is like to let it grow naturally, but making sure that it like grows in the right direction and it makes financial sense. Right. You're very good at that, but like kind of just letting me like, yeah, go ahead. I'm like, what? I'm gonna do this year. We'll see if it works. He's like, yeah. I'm like, okay. It's fucking crazy, and that's not for everyone. And I think I am uniquely temperamented for that because I like do hold myself accountable. Like I just told you, I sat in my room for 10 years with headphones on writing music. Like I don't need to wait for someone to tell me to do something to do it. So like I'm always like, what's next? I'm bored of that. What's next? I'm bored of that. So being in that position, it works for me well. And there's many people in positions similar like that at that business, but
well, I feel like, you said before, you have this confidence level. And I think
blessing and a curse, I guess.
No, but I'm saying like it takes someone to have that to be able to fit in the role that you're in too.
Yeah, maybe.
Not maybe, yeah, definitely. Like that. Not anyone could walk into that position and be like, in that with having that confidence to be like, okay, this is what we're gonna do and how we're gonna do it. Like this is how it gets done. Like you need to have that kind of inherently.
Yeah, I don't know. You enlightened me a little bit. I never really thought of that specifically, but I don't know. Maybe so. Maybe it's.
You don't think?
No, I don't see it as like confidence in my like abilities. I see it as like very pragmatic. Like, hey, these are the things we have to do to get to here. I don't, and to me, it's not a matter of if I'm confident or not, or if like it's like 2 + 2 is 4. Like you could say it confidently because 2 + 2 is 4. And like I kind of always, and again, to go back to what we were talking about earlier, I feel like this is why I sometimes come off as like arrogant and overly confident. And it's because like I don't even like I'm not even considering myself and my personality in this process, that I'm actually removed from it in a way that makes me confident in it. It makes me sound like I believe this. So I'm like, well, I don't it doesn't matter if I believe it. It's true or it isn't. It's hard to explain what I'm saying, and I don't think I articulated that properly.
I understand what you're
it's
saying.
almost like I don't know, it's kind of weird to say, but it's almost like I'm so disassociated that I'm actually extremely associated in like everything I do. And then I'm not afraid to immerse myself into anything because it doesn't overwhelm me. And I don't feel like.
But that takes confidence.
Is it confidence or is it actually disassociation? Like, I don't know. I don't know. And then we'll get into like childhood developmental psychology. We'll be here for another 6 hours. But like, I don't know. And again, I said this before, is I don't see the world like in like hierarchical, like up and down way, like anyone's better than anyone or someone knows more, so they're confident. It's always like left and right to me. Like it's all, people are just different. There's people who are meant for things and people who aren't. And it, like, I don't believe in like, so that thought process, I'm like, okay, I'm not better than anyone, but also no one's better than me then. And it makes me inherently confident of like, I just don't see the world in terms that would make me inconfident. If that makes any sense at all. But I just don't like play that game. I don't fucking care. Like, you have a car. It was like, your car is nice. And that's just to put it in like a very like materialistic way. I mean it in every way. Like if I meet someone who's smart, I'm not intimidated by them. I'm like, cool. I'm like, this is great. I'm glad you're smart. Because chances are they're not smart in the way I am. So like, I'm not threatened by it. And even if they are, then we could join forces and like take over the world. Like it doesn't like scare me. Nothing like so I don't.
But you still have that. You have the confidence though.
But it's confidence because like I'm not playing by rules that threaten me. Right. Like I'm not like I'm not scared of like, this is not like I don't. It's hard to explain. I'm not articulating it well either. But I just don't play by rules that would make me not confident. And it's not like I'm deciding like to be arrogant or like what I know is right. I'm like, no one fucking knows anything. So why isn't this right? Like, it's hard to explain, but it's not landing.
No, it is
a little bit.
But I think that in the same sense, there's
what is confidence? Like, I'll go too far with this real quick. Like,
no, we don't have to. I just
20-year-old philosophy student. Like, what is confidence?
I think having the confidence, whether it's because you are smart or you know what you're doing, blah, 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 or you just have that confidence because like you're a confident person, like, and you can fake it till you make it, like, or whatever it might be. Like you still have like this ability to walk in a room or whatever it might be and kind of own it. And I think that comes with confidence.
Yes. And I appreciate the compliment, but I just feel like
that goes for anybody, though. I'm serious.
Oh, that's true. That's true.
Anybody. Like, I'm not saying like specifically for you, but I think there's.
Oh, I thought you were. That's why I said I appreciate.
Well, I mean both. I mean, it's both. It's both.
Making me look like an asshole here, but yeah,
no, it's both.
Yeah, I don't know, and I don't know what. That's an interesting. The idea of human confidence is such an interesting concept to me that we do not have to go down because it's like fucking. Yeah, dude, that's a whole separate episode that fascinates me, that idea. But I don't think mine comes from the same place as other people. I literally think I'm just like not that impressed by like the world. Like I don't wake up and I'm like, woo. Like I'm just like, here we go. But I kind of dismiss the things that would make me inconfident.
But it's natural. It's just a natural like
all right
part of who you are.
Maybe
you know what I'm saying? Like I think people have that. Like
okay, all right, now I get what you mean. Yes,
you can walk into a room and be confident. Like you can be like, you know, whatever. But like if you have that confidence, you can immediately gain respect because like people sense that they get it's visible. It's felt. It's everything.
Yeah, I understand what you're saying. I guess I misinterpreted it a little bit.
Maybe I didn't explain it that well. No,
you did. You were just talking about confidence in general and what it is to have it, and I was talking specifically about like where it's derived from. Yeah. So we were around. So I apologize.
Don't be sorry.
So is there any other hats?
Yeah. I mean,
do I wear other hats?
You wear other hats.
Wear no hats.
Let's talk about your YouTube life.
Oh shit! fuck.
Theremin thoughts, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
That's the
obviously,
only active creative thing I have going on right now. So
well, I mean, like it's you I think dedicate, and if I'm wrong, please correct me, but you were like doing your goal was to, like, I want to do a video every week or every day or whatever it might be.
I did a video every Sunday for 2023 and 24, and I'm still like doing it now. But I originally was like, I'm going to do a video I'm going to see if I could do this. I'm going to see if I can commit to like making a fucking video every Sunday and posting it on Sunday for, originally it was just the first year, it was 23, and I did it. And then 24, I was like, fuck it, I'll do it again. And then I did it again, and I'm just like still doing it. But like, I set it out to be like, as a personal goal. I remember like, I guess it was around 2022. I was getting an urge to like be creative again because I had turned it off for 7 years, a very long time. And I have a whole theory about how people molecularly change every 7 years. My seventh year, I was like, I want to do something like cool. I was like, well, what would it be? Obviously, I'm a huge fan of like podcasts and, you know, content. And I had done that before. It wasn't like my first rodeo. And I was like, and I'm always like riding my bike or working on something where I'm spending, and you know, at my job, I talk all fucking day. It's like, so when the weekend comes, I'm just like, so I want to be like be in my head. And I just have like these fucking thoughts all the time about like concepts and ideas and like, and I started to have too many. I was like, oh, I didn't even finish the other one. I'd be like thinking, I'd be like, what about that one? And I was like, I got to put these somewhere. So I started like writing them in notes, and I was like, you know, fuck it. I'll get to be creative again, and I'll do YouTube videos again. And it'll have three purposes. I'll get this shit out of my head. I'll be able to be creative again, and it's fun. I like setting up microphones and lights and all that shit. It'll make me a better public speaker, which it does. I was like, I want to learn to speak better under pressure. And it sounds so stupid, and you know this, to talk to, as soon as the camera goes on, you're like, ugh. Like, and to think through, like ideas and try and articulate ideas, like, quickly and concisely, it was challenging, and I was like, I want to learn to do that better, so YouTube videos will teach me. And in a very selfish way, I was like, if I just talk at the camera and talk about ideas for, like, you know, 20 to 30 minutes every week, like, my son will have all of this stuff of like his dad. Yes. And I was like, that was one of my main things. Like, he could go back and watch all and really know me and really be like, really, I don't have anything of my dad because I think our dads died around the same year. And like, so that time it wasn't a lot of media. I don't have like videos of it. I don't fucking anything.
I don't have that many pictures, dude. And like,
I don't even have many pictures.
Like, you know, going back what you're saying, like I didn't even start it with that thought in my mind, but like, you know, once I got into it, I'm like, my children will have something from me and that's what's great about art, you know, and music and doing the content creation and all this kind of stuff. Like, they'll have like what I would give to have a voicemail from my father.
Yeah,
like,
I have
know what
one.
I'm saying? Yeah, good for you.
That's
awesome.
One. I have one. It was on an answering machine that I recorded with a video camera in 2006. Nice. Yeah.
When did your dad pass?
2007.
Okay, my dad
passed.
March
of 07.
Yeah, my dad passed 05, so it's going to be 20 years in June.
Damn.
It's crazy, right?
That's a different concept because we talk about being at that age. When your father dies, it's like a very strange, because like, think how many life events we both went through that like you didn't have him for. And I was 21 when my dad died, and you know, when you're in your 21 phase, like you're just out with your friends and stuff. Like, you're not appreciating your parents.
I was 22. Like,
yeah. So you're not like I was still close with them, like in some way, but like it wasn't the time of like, oh, I'm really appreciating this relationship. So I never felt like I had him as an adult, like to turn to for anything. And it was crazy. I didn't even start realizing that till I was like in my later 20s. I was like, holy fuck. And then I had kids, and I was like, my kids are never going to meet him. My wife never met him. And I'm sure you have the same situation. Yeah. It's like, my wife has a son with me who's like my dad's grandkid who she's never met. Like, she doesn't even like know about like parts of his genetics. And I'm like I never got Like at 21 years old, I wasn't curious about what he was like as a teenager or what he was like in his 20s or
Why
what he
would
was
you
doing.
be?
So I never asked him.
Yeah.
So much shit I just don't fucking know.
Don't know.
And it's
sucks.
fucking crazy. You can get it from your aunts or whatever, and that helps. But like, there's so much shit that I just do not know that would like reveal things about myself to me that I'm like, I just never had. And I know you have the same experience, and it's just like, it's a very weird age.
Well, because
my mother died when I was much older, so I was 36, and like that's just a different thing. Like it's still young, but it's just a different like the difference between those two at the two ages. I was so much better able to understand it at 36, and I'm sure 15 years from now I'll say, oh, how much I missed, because it'll be the same situation. But 21 is just like 22 too. It's just like it's an odd age.
Well, dude,
you knew him as a teenager, but then like it's just.
My dad was very good at like being my dad, like a father figure. Didn't talk much at all. Like we didn't say I love you nearly enough.
Yeah, that wasn't big in my house either.
And
classic boomer shit. But yeah.
Well, it was weird because it's like I finished college. It was like middle of May 05. And I feel like at that point he kind of started pulling the wall down, where I could tell him like a dirty joke, and you know he wouldn't be like acting like I shouldn't say the bad word. Or, you know, he started becoming my friend.
He started to see you as like a man, like a
yes,
equal.
exactly.
Yeah.
He did his job. Like
yes,
you know, elementary school, high school, college. Like okay, you're done with college. Like you're a man now. Like we could kind of talk like men.
Yes,
like I could be your friend now because I've done my job. And we can be in this place, and like I said, I finished mid May of 05, and he died literally a month later.
That's crazy.
Maybe 3 weeks later. So like, still to this day, it's like I finally like started getting like my father, who was like, you know, would like kind of open up more, and it just, and I always say like, and I know you have a brother too. Yeah, I was fortunate. I had him. He saw me graduate college or high school. Saw me graduate college.
Yeah.
My younger brothers, like my middle brother was 17, and then my youngest was 14. Like they didn't get any of that. Like,
that's
so
a tough. That's a much tougher age. Yeah.
It's
in relative. Yeah, it's fortunate.
Yeah, but
not fortunate. But you know what I'm saying.
Yeah,
it's better. Yeah, that's wild. But yeah, we were originally talking about something different and then went down that path.
We were talking about content creation. Oh,
yes, my YouTube videos.
Your son being able to have an idea of who you are based on your content.
Yeah, and that was the main aspect of it, because I'm like, I can't like. I'm not like pursuing making YouTube videos as like a career path or something. Like that's fucking ridiculous at 40. So I was like, it had other, it served other purposes. I got to be creative. I felt like I was like journaling for my son. I still do it. And then, I like setting up lights and shit. I like buying microphones and like going to Guitar Center. I love that shit. So I produce it all. I set it all up. I do it all myself. So I get that feeling of, doing something creative. And I thought that was what made the most sense to me. And I love doing it. I'll think of I'll be like riding my bike to work on like a Wednesday, and I'll have this like idea, and I'm like, that's what I'm doing the video on. And then I won't think about it until I turn the camera on. It's like, I don't really take notes. I'll like maybe jot down something sometimes, but I'll just be like, turn it on and be like, fuck it, let's do it. And like, maybe that's not the best way to do it, maybe thinking it out, but like, I like the idea of being spontaneous and being honest, and like whatever comes out, like, oh, I didn't think it was going to go that way. That's something I think I got from being a musician. I was like, you just turn the shit on and start playing, and whatever the fuck happens. And I enjoy it.
Well, I think it's very in the vein of Tim Dillon. It's a solo show. You're talking about,
It's not going to be solo much longer.
No.
I built like this studio, and I don't think I'm going to do a podcast like this. I'm not going to infringe on your market, but
Jesus.
I think that I want to bring like people in to talk about like a certain concept or something, and then kind of edit it into a video. So kind of the same thing I'm doing now, but like with someone. So it's not like this open, like about the person. It's about an idea, and we're talking about the idea.
And that's, two of those topical things. I mean, like one of my favorite videos you did was, Creed and Nickelback.
Oh yeah,
Hands down.
So
Hands
true.
down.
They're back, baby. They deserve to be back.
I love. So I'm going to say this, and then I want you to tell people what, the concept is behind it all. But
I don't even remember.
But like, no, not this video. Just your channel in general.
Oh,
but,
okay.
The Creed and Nickelback, and how when you're younger, you're trying to like, read into, certain bands like, Death Cab for Cutie, and trying to find your favorite band, and they're it's everything. The lyrics are deep, and now at our age, like we just want that fucking Nickelback and that fucking Breaking Benjamin.
Turn it up. It's like the dog barking or whatever. It's like the dog frustrated. He's like, shut up. Shut up, Ben Gibbard, and your fucking goddamn. I love fucking Death Cab, but
so do I.
Like, bro, shut the fuck up. I was like, I don't need that today. I was like, I need fucking Rockstar. I need fucking How You Remind Me. I need
put the roof on the house.
Give me that. Put the roof on the house. And I tell the story. I don't know if I told the story in the video that I was putting the deck on my house last year, and but I was playing Breaking Benjamin, and I always liked them. I always liked their drumming specifically, but I was like, this fucking makes perfect sense to hammering fucking nails into a deck. I'm like, there's no better. This makes sense to doing this. I'm like, every fucking roofer in America puts on fucking Breaking Benjamin because it's perfect for like doing man shit at your fucking house. Like, is it perfect? Nothing else sounds like, again, I said I love Modest Mouse. I'm like, you're going to fucking listen to him while you're putting a deck on your house. Like, it doesn't make sense. And then we just don't need it. It's like when you're doing man shit, you need man music. And when you get older, you're like, just turn up the Nickelback. Like, I remember, and I was guilty of it when I was there the first time. I was like, oh, this is stupid. I was like, okay. But now I'm just like, no, it wasn't. It was fucking awesome. It was like straightforward, like, fix the car, change the flat, turn on the fucking music, and let's go. And I say this all the time. Like, if I have friends who are like over 30 and single, I'm like, you don't get to like records anymore. I'm like, shut all that shit off. I was like, put on fucking Dave Matthews or Creed or Nickelback, something that just gets to the point. Just shut up and fuck all the bullshit. Shut off like opinions and like, well, it'd be better if the guitar was just, he said, shut up. Put on fucking Creed and focus and get locked in. And I say that all the time. And that music is perfect for just like, straightforward rocking.
I love that.
And that's it's back now. It's like fully back. Aren't they doing like a co-headlining tour or something?
I did see
A festival. Yeah. And, like the summer '99ers festival or something, and they're like all on it. Yeah, just because it was better.
Yeah. Well, Nickelback's going out too with Tonic, Our Lady Peace, Lit.
Wow.
They're also going out with Kid Rock, which they're getting some shit for because of the political bullshit. But
anyone taking him seriously? I don't dislike him, but like, can't be mad at the fucking guy. Who cares?
Yeah,
he's fucking ridiculous. Like a gold toilet or something. I'm not taking his fucking word for anything.
Right.
Like, I was just like, I like his song. That song, American Badass, is a fucking ripper. That song fucking rips. I don't care what he thinks about anything, but that shit fucking, that song fucking, I know it's a Metallica.
That's why people fucking,
but I don't care what he does.
Well, yeah, people, they get too, far into like, they can't disassociate the music with like, who they are as people. Like, because listen, a good song's a good song.
I agree. But people like reflecting themselves off other people, and public figures, everyone knows. So you could be like, fuck Kid Rock. And everyone knows who Kid Rock is and know what he's about because he's famous. So it's just an easy way to say, like, I don't like what Kid Rock likes. So people always kind of gravitate towards, like, distance, using public figures to associate or disassociate themselves with topics quickly. And I'm not interested in that. I'm like, it's a nuance. I'm like, I'll listen to fucking Only God Knows Why. It's a good fucking song.
Yeah.
I don't care. I don't care what he believes about the border. I don't give a fuck. He's not doing it. He's not there. Like, I don't give a shit. I don't care. But I'll play Only God Knows Why I'll fucking play that shit right now, actually. That song rips. He has a lot of sleepers.
He does.
But he does get in his own. He runs his mouth. That's what he does. You know, he's a provocateur.
Well, yeah. I mean,
And what am I going to do?
You got to stay in the media. Like, you can't just disappear if you want to make money.
Yeah.
I mean, he's the same guy who shot up Budweiser and Bud Lights, and then he went back.
Yeah. I mean, he's dynamic. I'll give him that.
You know?
I don't know if that was all a ploy or...
Who knows?
Who knows? And it don't matter.
Fucking,
only God knows why it's still good.
It doesn't affect my life.
It doesn't. Because you don't like noise. You got shit to do. You got the kids. You got to get the baseball glove. Yeah. You don't need to fuck... I don't care what Kid Rock said. It was probably stupid. I don't fucking care.
Don't care.
Only God knows why.
Yeah.
I could talk about that all night.
I know.
Get me going
too.
on that.
But what's the channel about? I mean, Theremin Thoughts. What's the concept?
Essentially, just like human concepts, like psychology, sociology, physiology, but like things that are just like I'm gonna do a video this weekend about how there's just like the idea of sociopaths and sociopathy and how there's more of it than we think. Like when people think of sociopaths and they think of like, oh, American Psycho or whatever, or people who kill without remorse. But like how many aspects of like being a sociopath are integrated in society? I will go as far as to say is that if, since music is the theme of the night, and you know I have disdain for humble people, if someone is like a really good guitar player or something like objectively, and someone like says, oh, they're really good. And he's like, oh, you know, they like downplay it. I'm like, that's a form of dishonesty. And I fucking hate it. We don't have to talk about it, but it's a form of being like a sociopath. It's a form of trying to manipulate reality to make you look different to someone else. It's a lie. I feel like it's a nuanced lie. But for someone to downplay their own skills or talents in an effort to not offend insecure people is so manipulative to me that I'm like, and it's so common. We see this everywhere. It's like what celebrities do all the time. Like, oh, a hot guy, Jason Momoa, where he's just going to be like, I'm cool. It's like, shut the fuck up, dude. It's like you're blessed from fucking God. Like, don't try and act like you're one of us. It's insulting. And I think it's sociopathy to do that. And I mean, I'll explain it better in the video, but like, that's like evil to me in a way that's like covert and like so concepts like that actually just sound like fucking like what the fuck is that? That's the stuff that fascinates me. That's the stuff I explore and talk about on the channel.
Okay, yeah. I'm a big fan. I'm subscribed.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
I watch it every week. It comes up in my my notifications.
I didn't get shadow banned.
I appreciate your insights.
It's fun.
I
think we about covered it.
I think we, the dad, the husband. I mean, we talked about briefly. You're a DIY pro. I mean, you're constantly. I mean, I feel like you've, stripped your house down to the bare bones and then built it completely back up.
I did.
You're putting the deck on the house.
That's done. I'm building an enclosed, yes, I'm building an extension on it this year, and that's just really my way of like I was just like, I don't know if born is the right word, but I've always just been like hyper motivated, and I was like, I gotta be moving, and I want my house to be nice, and I can't afford to pay someone to do it, so it works out fine. And I learned how to do it all, and like YouTube is so powerful. I was like, how do I put in a window? I was like, YouTube. No. Now I can put in a fucking window, and it works fine, and everything's good. It saves me a lot of money. Sure,
but I mean, I could watch the same video you watch and be like, I'll fuck that up.
And I always said that like I'm very lucky to my style of learning lends itself to technology, because I could watch a YouTube video on like whatever, how to build like a fucking concrete pad in a staircase. It's 18 minutes long. I'll watch it and then I'll go and do it. And as I'm doing it, I can like see and hear the video in my head. So I could just go through it. That doesn't make me like better or worse than anyone. It's just my learning style is very, very, very much supported by YouTube and like technological instruction. So I'm able to learn. But I understand how someone who's still intelligent could watch a video about how to put a window and just be like, I have no fucking clue what they just said.
No clue. I will make it worse before I make it better.
Yeah.
But it'll cost me more money. Time out of my day and more money. And I don't know.
Yeah, I get that. Because then there's like cars. I have no interest in cars. Like I don't give a fuck about cars. And I know people who can like fix their car and stuff, and I'm like, fuck, to get that thing away from me.
And I don't know if it's like, I don't know how your parents were, but it was very much in my household. It was, use your brain, not your hands type of situation.
That was a big thing that like the boomers pushed onto us. Yeah. Because that was true for them. It was like, oh, there's this emerging world where you don't have to lay bricks all day. You can like get on a computer and make a good living. Like that was all kind of new to them. So that's what they believed. And my mom like pushed college. She was like, yo, you're going to college. She's like, because I didn't, like, you're going. Like, it's just what it is. And I didn't want to. And she like fucking negotiated with me. She ended up winning. And then I ended up staying in college. And I was glad that I went. But it was so important to her, and it wasn't important to me at the time. But that's a testament to how serious they took it. She didn't even care what it was for. She's like, I don't give a fuck what it was for. She's like, you're just going to be a person who graduated college. Like, that's it. And I was like, okay, we'll do it. But again, that kind of aimless, just go and do it, and you'll get a job. Because there was a period where, like, being, like, blue-collar or a labor worker was heavily looked down upon.
Frowned upon, yeah.
That was when we were in college and when we were in high school, like pre-2008, we were just dumb if like you know how to fix a car. Like that's what dumb people do.
Right. I remember like you'd see kids that went to like the vocational schools.
Yeah.
They'd be outside. If you'd be at the bus, they'd be outside smoking cigarettes. And it'd be like those fucking losers.
Yeah. Everyone just thought they were like the dumb kids who didn't want to like really participate.
Yeah. And that was a massive shortage. And like you could be an electrician and walk in the door and be like, name your price.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty wild. I think that's correcting itself in some way. Like, I'm not interested in like traditional college institutional education for my son. Like, if he shows signs of being excelling in science or something you really need to go to college for, of course. But he's not going for fucking English. Like, no fucking bro. I'm not paying $100,000 for you to fucking go read fucking Shakespeare. Like, no fucking. And that's the shit. I went to school for communications. It's like, what the fuck is that? Whatever even have my degree in doesn't even like exist anymore. Like Twitter like came out when I was in college and changed the idea of what communications was. Like while I was there, it's again another theme of our conversation. And I was like, that's not something real. I was like, I'm not doing, and college might be on its way out in some capacities. And I think that is showing evidence of being true, but not in a tech, like someone's gonna have to learn how to work on a heart. And you're going to college for that. So, I still support it in that way, obviously, but not for any type of like arts or.
Yeah. Like, I mean, even marketing, I have a marketing degree, and marketing is like the foundation is still the same, but like
the psychology part is
different.
Yeah.
It's completely different than it was.
Like 3 times over different than when you did it, which is it's fucking crazy. And people don't need to go to school for marketing anymore.
No.
I guess we're both obsolete dinosaurs.
Yeah, I mean, I work in radio, so it's like, hopefully that sticks around for.
I know. I hear you on the fucking radio station on Saturday. I'm like, this fucking guy's everywhere.
Yeah. Rock 107, Fuzz.
Yeah.
Killing it.
I don't know how you do it. We'll have to do a podcast. We'll have to do a podcast about you sometime soon because maybe it's time that the mic gets turned around because I am fascinated on how you also wear so many hats.
Well, yeah. I mean, I don't even think of it that way, but I guess
he said the same thing I did. It's like, that's how you got to do it.
Yeah, I don't know when you sleep. I mean, I see your stories. Like
I sleep pretty good every night.
That's great. I don't know how you do it because, like, again, work all day, you ride your bike home. That takes time.
It's only a couple minutes. I live close, but I'm so regimented about my time, and I've always been. I remember being like 17, and I was like, the way you manage and perceive your time was more valuable to me than like money. It was my currency. I remember I had a friend who would like, when he'd come to my house and we rode BMX bikes and he would like take his bike out of his car like slow and put the wheels on and like play music. I'm like, you're wasting fucking your life. I was like, you're wasting your time. I was always that way. I was like, cut out any fucking bullshit that you can. Like any fucking like anything that doesn't need to happen. Like I don't schedule my leisure, but I kind of do. Yeah. And I shut off. I'm like, I go off at this time and I go off. and then I turn on at this time and I turn on. There's no like this. I think it's the medium area that fucks people up. It tires them out and they lose sense of like productivity and efficiency in their time. And I manage my time very specifically in that way. And I always do, because I spend a lot, like my wife doesn't miss me. I see her all the time. I'm always there. And I see my son all the time. But like I'm always also doing stuff. And I'm very precise about like, okay, I'm going to work on the house from 8 to 6. And at 6, we're going out to dinner. And after that, we're all going to watch a movie. That's the day. And I was like, you do all kinds of stuff within that time, but like, I shut it off when it needs to come off. I don't like, my son's not like, Dad, when you coming home? Like, he knows I'm fucking home.
I find that amazing though, because like you work all day and like you work on the house, obviously husband, father, and you make it all work.
Yeah, I don't know. And it is interesting, but it's what you got to do. Even in the simplest way. I don't see work. I come home from work and I'm like, that's when the day starts. I don't feel accomplished. Like I feel accomplished at work, but when I come home, I don't feel like I did anything yet. At 5:30, I'm like, all right, what's the day now? It's like I just worked for 10 hours, but I'm like, that was that. I was like, that wasn't anything. I was like, if I just go to bed now, I'm going to feel like nothing happened today. So I'll start doing something, even if it's for an hour. Like when I work at my house, like for example, I don't have to go too far into it because I know we're going for a while now. Like I'll like know, okay, so on Saturday, I'll be like, okay, Tuesday night and Thursday night, I'm going to work for an hour and a half each night. And these are the exact things I'm going to do. And I'm going to leave the tools out. I'm going to make sure that it's things I can do in an hour and a half. And and it won't go longer or shorter. And I'm going to leave those tools in place so I don't have setup time. And it's just an actual hour and a half of work. And this takes 3 hours and I'm going to do it on these 2 nights. So on Saturday, it'll be built up and I just plan everything that way. Everything.
That's discipline.
It works well though. And it's so you could get a lot done in small amounts of time. And it always came natural to me for some reason. So I guess I'm lucky in that regard. But
yeah, I think that's great. That's a great way to make sure you're utilizing that time effectively.
And I'm sober.
Yeah.
It has to mean something. I don't know because I've never, but like I have a lot of friends that like, that I'm going out to have some drinks tonight. I was like, I never went out for drinks on a night. I'm always like consuming not saying there's anything wrong with that. There isn't. I don't look down on people for doing that. But the fact that I don't like, there's almost no reason to socialize. Like, which is really strange. Like, I don't look like I'll go to like a kid's birthday party or something like, shit like that, like a Thanksgiving. But like, I don't watch the game. Because most people watch the game, they're drinking. Like those habits promote like a social thing. And I don't know, that never called to me. So like there's very little of that in my life. So like it's strictly regimented because I know I'm going to feel good in the morning. I'm not going to be hungover tomorrow morning. So I'm getting up at fucking 7 and like it's strictly regimented. And I've always been that way. And it's not like, it's only because I'm sober. I'm like, it helps because I know people, I see people, I'm like, that's a factor for them. And I was like, it's not a factor for me, so I'm able to just plan, to the T and stick to it. I guess that's lucky. I don't know. Hurts my brain.
It's just you value your time. You use it appropriately.
Try to anyway. Everyone's got to fuck off at some time, but I try to.
There's a couple of things that we talked about during our time together working, and then we'll wrap things up. But these are kind of off the wall.
Uh-oh.
Yeah. You once said that excitement is for children and drug addicts.
Did I say that?
Yeah.
Excitement is, and I stand behind that. I actually believe that. I actually believe that like excitement is for like when the world is new, and I don't think it's depressing for the world to not be new. But like nothing's really fucking new to me at 40, and it shouldn't be. So like I don't know what would make me excited, and I don't think you should be pursuing excitement beyond like age 17. It's in my opinion. Like excitement and fun aren't the same. Like excitement is like childish. It's like what a dog feels like when they see the food in the bowl. It's like it's a very primal, elementary feeling and emotion to me. And then if you're a drug addict, like you're chasing primal, elementary feelings constantly. So excitement, I don't know exactly what I meant by that, but I definitely know that I do stand behind that sentiment. It's like I haven't been excited in like fucking 25 years. It's like I don't miss it. I'm fine. Yeah. I don't know what that means. Is what I'm saying. Like my son was excited today when we played with Nerf guns. Like he was like, "Woo!" Like that's I don't know. I don't feel that anymore. I think it's a youthful emotion. Maybe that's kind of jaded to say, but I'm not miserable, so I think it's okay to say. But yeah, I think it's a very youthful emotion. And then in the drug addict term, it's for, just fuck.
Yeah. You're excited for that next high.
Yeah. It's like, come on. It's childlike wonder, I guess.
Yeah.
I can't believe you took a note of that.
Yeah, I got more here.
Oh, fuck.
Gay men can be 100% gay, but lesbians can only be 80%.
I can't believe you dropped it. Did I say that? And I stand behind that, but it would take me 2 hours to explain that whole thing. And it sounds kind of like antagonistic or like, like just saying, it sounds like something Kid Rock would say. But like, I mean it in the most respectful way of like, fuck, I don't even got the time to go into that one. That would be a whole separate podcast, but it really is to distinguish differences between men and women and their value in the objective world. And the meaning that, I'll put it really simple, is that men inherently, in a cosmic sense, like if you were God looking down at Earth, men are less valuable than women. We offer less to the world. And a proof of that being is that one man can impregnate 10,000 women. So we need one man to do that. And this is a very like stupid biologically like looking down from above situation. So men are inherently less valuable than women. So if two men do whatever they want, they're not taking anything. It's like, we have enough of you. Go away. You could be removed from that situation. Not to say gay people are removed from society. I'm not saying like something ridiculous. I'm speaking from a godly perspective. But to women, you're taking more from the world, and to explain how that means that they're less they're less gay than men are gay has to go into so many fucking things about how each sex perceives sexuality. Listen to me try to get myself out of this.
Turn it into an episode of Theremin Thoughts.
It would still be 5 hours long. It would be too long, and I don't want to go into it forever. But for example, the way men and women perceive sexuality is we know that it's starkly different, and that women are on like the more short-term hormonal cycle, and men are just like, we turn 11 and then we die, and it's fucking this the whole time. And it's a huge difference. It's like, I'm not going down this rabbit hole, John. I'm not doing it. It'd take me too long. But you could start to see where this is forming, because each of these concepts needs so much. And the foundation of it is that women are better than we are. That really is the foundation 100%. Of it. They're better beings, so they can't be fully committed.
I like that.
Next one, please.
You don't fear nukes, aliens, or ghosts.
I don't care. That's so both those things are so, like, all three of those things are so esoteric that, like if I saw a ghost, and I thought about this recently because I had sleep paralysis again for the first time. If I was, like, sleeping and I woke up and there was a ghost, I'd be like, I don't care. I'd be like, I don't give a fuck. That doesn't, like, shock me at all. And we talked about this earlier when I was talking about how women grow children from nothing. That's remarkable. Like, that's more surprising to me. And then we don't know where people go when they die. Like, people die and then they're gone. And it sounds so stupid, but I was like, that's crazier to me than if a ghost could be real. I'm like, a ghost walked by. I'm like, that makes sense. I'm like, wait, that person died, now we don't know where they are? That's fucking nuts to me. So there's things to me that on Earth right now in this experience that are more acutely insane to me than an alien or a ghost. And then nukes, I'm just like, who cares? It's fucking, they're real. So I don't know. I don't know what I meant by nukes, but yeah. I can't believe you wrote this shit down. This is fucking hilarious.
I told you. This is like over a year ago.
What would have been? That's funny. Is there another one? Because I'm scared.
No, there's
thank God.
No, I just have. We covered Creed, Nickelback. Did you know that Vin Diesel has recorded music available?
Are you serious,
dude? Yes.
Is it good? I bet it's good.
He has 2 songs. One is good.
I got to check this out.
Dude, yes. I was going to share it to my story, but I didn't want you to see it before we
Do
talked.
we need Vin Diesel music?
Dude, the one song is good. Like,
I'd have to hear it to have an opinion on it, obviously. But
for what I was, it's not your style at all. It's not really my style either. But like, when you hear that Vin Diesel has music, you're like, what the fuck? This has to be fucking terrible. And like, I mean, you know, we're not talking Led Zeppelin level shit here. We're talking a fucking shaved head action movie star.
Yeah.
I don't even know. I think it was back in like 2020. But like, it's not terrible. The one song's not great, but the one song it's not bad.
In certain ways, that could be better than Led Zeppelin. You know, some days you want a 3-course meal, some days you want a hot dog. It sounds like a hot dog. I'm in the mood for a hot dog at the ballpark. It's like a Vin Diesel song. I haven't heard it, but I know by looking at him, I think I know what we're getting into.
What do you think? Be wrong. What do you think?
Daughtry.
No.
Fuck. It's the bald head. It's the bald head that threw me off. What if it's just like good? What is it? Just explain it to me.
I don't know how to explain it to you. It's
not butt rock. It's not like gold silver chain with the cross butt rock.
It's like I don't want to say it's what are those fucking guys called? Shit, I just had it and I forgot it. God damn it. I can't think of the name. But it's not what you would expect.
All right.
I want a full review tomorrow.
All right. I'll give you a full review tomorrow.
I'll send it to you.
I won't forget. You don't have to send it to me.
Dude, it's like I can't think of the goddamn who. It's like I don't want to say EDM, but like there's this group.
EDM would make sense.
Closer.
Fucking the Chainsmokers.
Yes, it's like in that vein.
Yeah, you're not fucking with me, bro. I know everything. Yeah, Chainsmokers. Okay.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. Kind. I mean, like that's like the best.
That EDM thing is. I could see Vin Diesel being relevant in the like drugs at Joshua Tree nightclub scene or whatever.
Dude, the song is not terrible.
All right, I'll check it out.
Yeah, fucking unbelievable. We both share a love for Blue October.
Yes, I'm glad you brought this up because I was listening to them last night in the shower.
I'm going to see the Justin Furstenfeld, lead singer of Blue October, his like open book tour. He's coming to the Sherman Theater end of March.
Yeah, I saw that.
Plan on being there. And I remember I wore the shirt one day at Axelrad, and that's when you're like, oh, Blue October, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, do you like Blue October? And you're like,
they're one of those bands that like, it's like a secret handshake. And you can't be loud about it. You got to be quiet about it. I gotten a lot. It's just recently. That was like, I remember someone gave me tickets to one of their shows at the Sherman Theater like 3 years ago. And I had 2 tickets. And I asked my wife, I was like, you want to see Blue October? She's like, no way. No way. And like, she's done like anything I wanted to do. She's like, not doing it. You're going alone. And I did. And I was like, there's something about that band. And I was like, they're so underrated. Absolutely underrated in every aspect. But there's something about them that just fucking turns people off who don't like them. Like almost like ICP or something, but less funny. And it's like, they're just like, no. And I'm like, I don't get it. I think I'm like, this is like The Cure, but like maybe a little better in some ways. And I was like, I don't understand why people don't like them and why they're not more popular. And I'm the wrong person to ask because I just think they're great. And I always did. Since, I didn't know about them before the hits in 2006. I was like, what the fuck is this? This guy's weird. And I was like, it's just good. It's like very vulnerable, very emotional. And the music's like very well written. I don't know. But he's an interesting character.
Very interesting.
Very, he had me fooled with the, when he did that couple years where he's like family man image, which is true, but he's had a lot of images is what I'm saying. My man hasn't been consistent on his public persona.
For me, He's obviously like a recovered substance abuse addict.
Yes.
And for me, like, so my son was probably maybe 6 months old, and we had a show at the radio station theater we have. And so we met my son. It was a picture of me, my son, my wife. And
That's
like, when
cool.
we saw him like 6 months later again, and he's like, "Hey man, great to see you." And I'm thinking he's like, just, he's one of those guys. Like, he's like, "How's your son doing?" I'm like, "Holy fuck! Like, you remember who I am?"
Yeah, that's wild.
Like, it just like bizarre. So I'm like, I don't know if like this guy is just really like so clear headed now that he just like remembers all this shit now, or if he's just a very good actor. I try to believe that it's like he just like,
No, he
you know,
probably absolutely truly remembered.
I think so too, because like
Because that dude is like, you listen to his music, the way he sings and like the lyrics. I'm like, this is a real artist, in my
Yeah.
opinion. I'm like, this
Yeah.
guy's feeling shit.
Yes.
That like people, and that's why he is so chaotic in his personal life. I go, why wouldn't he be? It makes sense, but that makes me feel like he definitely did remember like you
Yeah.
implicitly. Yeah,
Yeah.
I would think that he did.
I think
'Cause
so too.
I don't think that's acting. That'd be
But-
like, if you act on that level, it's real. But yeah,
It just was like bizarre to me.
yeah,
But
he seems like a
he's-
very tortured. Obviously, I never met him, nothing like that. But it seems like you can hear it in that music. You're like, this is someone who's, feeling something.
That's like become like my wife's like our favorite, like our thing.
Yeah,
I remember seeing the band in Boston with my buddies, and she wasn't there, and I felt like I was like cheating on her to a degree.
that's funny. Yeah,
You know.
yeah,
But I mean, what an emotional ride that is. And I found myself in general, like, I don't know if it's my age or if it's my relationship to music, but like I'll go to shows now and like I'll fucking cry.
yeah. That's
And not
wild.
out of sadness. Like, I'm not sad. Like, it's like happiest fucking tears ever.
See,
like-
and obviously, I have no idea what that feels like. Like, I'd never been to a show. I was like, I'm gonna cry, and not that you're not saying more or less or anything. I was just like that. So that was to my testament earlier. Is like you're going there and you're picking up something that I'm not.
Yeah.
But that's pretty cool.
Well,
I
I'm
respect
also
it.
to what you said before too. Is like, going to live shows, I could take it or leave it, because to me it's unless you're changing the song outside of the recorded song, like I don't care about that.
Yeah. What makes you cry exactly?
I'm
interested in that.
I think it's memories that it's tied to.
So that's what I was gonna say, because like I'm like a song itself. I was like, what you're associating, like, so if the song reminds you of like your second date with your wife or something. Yes, I could see you being like nice.
I mean, it's like Incubus. I went and saw the 20th anniversary of
Incubus.
Make Yourself, and
What a strange band.
love that band, and I just that was tied to like some formidable years of my life, like end of high school, early college.
I get that.
That kind of shit. But like, I mean, Blue October, like
Sometimes that's the only way to access those memories and how you felt at that time is like through the music. I feel that way about something. Like you could put, so you said to a high school age, like you can listen to Incubus and feel 19.
Yeah.
That's pretty wild. That is the power of music.
It's
for sure.
It's so powerful.
Yeah.
So powerful.
And I wonder, it is pretty remarkable that happens. And then there's certain songs, that come be part of culture, where they're not just personal, but they mean something to like a time in life for many people. Like a song like Mr. Brightside, or like Love Song by The Cure. Like those are like, fucking John Denver Country Roads. It become this other thing where they're like part of like a larger, like it does that for many people at once, and it like brings people together on a mass level. Like there is a power to it that is assigned to it, but I could do the same thing. Not Incubus, but other bands where I'm like, oh, I remember like what it smelled like in the room.
Yeah.
When I was 20.
That's what I love about music so much. It's just it could take you back to that moment in time.
Yeah.
20 years, 30 years back. So.
Yeah. It could drop you right there.
Yeah.
And that's a different conversation, but I feel like that's why people mostly stay on music from when they were younger. I know I did a video about that. It's like, you know, a new song could come out today, but it's not it wasn't out when I was 20 and like had my college girlfriend, and like that memory is powerful. And you can't assign that to something you heard yesterday. So like, yeah. And that's why people, I think, I'll go back and listen to Taking Back Sunday's second record. I think it's one of the best records ever. And it makes me feel like my first year of college.
Yeah.
That's powerful.
Music and smell.
Yes. Very interesting.
But we're at like a 3-hour mark now.
Shit.
You got work tomorrow. No, you don't. You're off tomorrow.
Sort of. I'll be there.
I got the gym tomorrow at 5:30. Well,
yeah, you're getting up earlier than me.
Up at 5:15, 5:30 in the gym at 6. So
damn,
we can wrap things up.
Respect. Well, I'm glad we finally got to do this. I appreciate it, and I had a nice time.
Yeah, me too. I love the fact that we could have a 3-hour conversation about life in general, and
we did. It was good.
Probably 3 hours longer than we had in 3 years at Axelrad.
It's true. We did touch on like everything. You were very thorough.
Yeah. But Dennis, production manager at Axelrad Screen Printing.
That's the hat.
A band, Astorian Stigmata. Go check that out on Spotify and YouTube. Content creator. Theremin Thoughts on YouTube. Husband, father, DIY pro, BMX rider. Man of many hats.
It is kind of a lot.
And an intellectual too. I mean, like, yeah.
That's my favorite pursuit. They're all tied together.
Yeah, you're very you're open-minded and you're thoughtful about, you know, things in the world and what we're all going through, and that's a whole different story.
Yes.
But you're a good man.
Well, thank you. And you are as well, and I respect your time and you doing this, and it was great.
Yeah. I had a lot of fun tonight. So hopefully I'll see you soon. I always pop in.
Yeah.
At least once a month. Once a month.
And anytime you want to do this again, I'd be more than happy.
I mean, we could talk for hours.
I know. There's a lot we didn't even touch on. I have to come back to the 80% lesbian thing. You fucking hit me with that one. I was like, that sounds so crazy unless I fucking give it the 3 hours. Maybe you'll come here. Maybe you'll come here and we'll talk about it together.
I'll be there.
I'll be there. Sounds great.
All right, buddy. Dennis, take care. Say hi to your wife and kid for me.
I will.
And hopefully I'll see you soon.
All right. Thank you.
All right, man. Thanks.